Greetings and salutations, everyone. We are back with more Dungeons & Dragons, Land of the Shattered Star. Wah!
Wow.
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 Are we just going W vowel?
I don't know.
We?
Wow.
Oop, German.
Cow.
Wagner?
Anywho,
Wow.
when we left you
Right.
off last time, you were on an entirely different volcanic island. I mean, the island's volcanic. I'm not gonna bullshit you.
I'm appalled at the thought that this island could be volcanic.
It's almost like
How
there's a
often-
chain of volcanic islands in the area. That totally never
That's-
happens anywhere.
What?
Yeah.
Peter, I can tolerate a lot of things that are unrealistic, but this is just the
Right.
peak of it.
The next thing you're going to be telling me is that Hawaii is not populated by dinosaurs.
You are correct. Hawaii is not populated by dinosaurs anymore.
Fuck that.
I don't know. I've met some old men.
Heyo. At any rate, so you had you left the previous island through a mini gate in a temple to the king of the sea, or the sea king, or whatever I end up actually calling him. I'm going to call him the sea king for the time being. It will probably change.
Oh boy, I hope so, because you're going to make me think of a Pokemon every time.
I know, but it flows better than King of the Sea.
King of the Sea!
See,
Outrageous.
Lord of the Tuna.
Peter, switching between the two honestly makes me think of that stupid Dingo Pictures Animal Soccer World where where one of the teams is they describe it as the Jungle Kings, the King of the Jungles, and that's how they literally introduce themselves. I'm like,
Okay,
good God, that is peak voice acting right there.
excellent.
Also, imagine being said by someone who is Dutch and doesn't speak English well.
Excellent.
Just
Here we go.
Bad.
The monarch of the marine.
Yeah, I'm not going to say
Ooh.
that. Anyways. You emerged, as I mentioned, from the temple to be confronted by some apparently natives. They're humans wearing, hide armor, wielding macahuitls, which are wooden swords with obsidian, basically flat wooden clubs with obsidian blades along the edges. They're often referred to as obsidian swords.
They're just really, really extreme homoerotic frat paddles.
Very much no. They also have
Ooh, I ship you in a yaoi couple. Gawk!
They also have obsidian-tipped spears, unsurprisingly, given that they are on a volcanic island and there are lots of trees.
Of all the things present, I don't trust the trees.
Fair
I can
enough.
talk
that's
to
not,
the humans.
that's not your couple. That's not your couple. That's not your character trait, rather, I should say.
At any rate,
Surface plants are strange and terrifying to me.
Oh, I can get. Okay, I understand that.
fair
I
enough.
can talk to the humans.
Listen, Peter,
That's true. Yes, Skitch.
I think Skitch wanted to allow for you to continue.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. So, you were the guards who looked up at you and asked if you would allow them to escort you to the village so that you could meet up with the village elder, because there are questions to be asked.
Yeah, and we were cool with that.
Okay,
Yeah,
and that's what I remembered. So you are escorted along a winding jungle path. I'll be kind to Eric. And you come up.
We pass signs occasionally that say this is not a forest, it's a jungle. And Glix is like, good.
You
the
do
path
at one,
is
as I
sloped,
mentioned
there's no
last time. You
stairs.
do at one point hear the sound of children singing and dancing, but that's because there are children singing and dancing out there. Because although you realize that it's not actually coming from the woods; it's coming from past the woods. Because you don't hear it until you actually get to near where the woods sort of end, and the large wooden wall begins. And you are led up. They lead you up to a gate, which opens, and when they come to a gate, they shout. They say, "We have some strangers who were found in the temple. We need to bring them to the elder." There's a pause. You can hear very faint sort of, murmuring noises from the other side of the wall as the gates open. and you are escorted into the village, which is hang on, let me do one quick thing before I forget. And let me get that up. All right, and yeah, there we go. So yes, you are led into the village, and it's a somewhat sizable village. It's actually pretty big. I can actually let you guys. I'm going to drag you over to so you guys can see the rough map of the village.
I have a quick question, Peter.
Yes.
If we were to get into a fight with anyone here, are we going to have to engage in insults in order to fight them effectively? Is that the vibe we're getting from this place?
It is not. I will say this: it is not a Monkey Island-esque pirate town. No.
A shame. I just saw the skull across. I saw the skull.
I know.
On the compass. I'm like,
Yeah, no.
I mean, we can engage them in insults.
If you want to try to engage in a battle of insults, you are welcome to do so.
and then someone pulls out a gun and shoots you. Like, where the hell did that come from?
I will say guns are very unlikely here.
You fight like a cow. What's a cow?
Well, shit.
I don't know. I'm from the ocean.
Hey-o.
Don't you know this is the South Sea? It has
If
to
I'm not
rhyme as
mistaken,
well.
Aren't certain female whales called cows?
Cow is, in all honesty, just, the designation of, a female of a species in a lot of cases. So you can apply that to whales, manatees, etc. It's not just bovines, which are what are commonly
I
associated
was
with the
going to
term.
say, like,
Manatees
there are
in particular are actually called sea cows.
yeah,
Yes.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
manatees are sea cows.
But
Yeah,
yes, you're at the village. As you are escorted in, you get the overwhelming feeling that virtually every adult in town is sort of staring at you somewhat suspiciously.
I wonder why.
What about the children?
They're running around being kids, mostly. A few of them
Good.
stare at you like, ooh, strangers. And then
Okay.
notice this the adults also staring at you very quietly, intently, and you're like, okay. And then we're off to go play ball or what have you.
Tito is used to being stared at.
So is Cameron at this point.
I think pretty much, yeah. Getting stared at's kind of a thing.
For all of us, yeah.
Yes. I mean, to a degree, yes, but this is a little bit different. There's
I think that Ingir's the only one who's not used to it.
Well, I can understand though what Peter's saying. I think that for some of us who are a little bit more accepted, like Ingir and Kalia, then it's probably a little bit more than we're used to. So
yeah,
Right.
like
Oh, sure.
it's not the stare of it's not the stare of oh god, Kali is terrifying, or Ingir's oh I haven't seen a kobold in monk robes very often, or Cameron's those clothes are weird, or wow you don't see merfolk on land very often, or oh look a goblin thief we should make sure he doesn't steal our wallet.
Right.
It's a different sort of apprehensive suspicion that it's different. It's got a very different air about it, is what I'm saying.
Right. There's a different sort of outsiders sort of vibe.
It is very much more. It's more outsidery than usual.
Yeah.
Like there's a hostility behind it.
A bit. There is actually, yes.
Okay.
I think it's, the scuttlebutt that we came from the temple. What the hell were people doing at the temple?
You
Or
are
something to
you are
that
quite
effect.
possibly right. You are quite possibly right. Zito's quite possibly right there. Yes, but you will find out.
Right. Well.
But you are escorted. No one there's it doesn't go beyond people sort of staring at you like, You are led over down to the southeast of the village, where that big building is down there in the southwest. Sorry. Which is building. I guess building 11. I guess would be sort of the. I will take advantage of the fact this map came numbered.
Yeah.
So yes,
it just has like a sign out front. That's the street address.
no. And there is a sort of path that leads up. You notice that there are people who have. You notice there are definitely some guards who've come here ahead of you. And one of them is sort of. There's sort of an open sort of. I guess. Sort of. sort of like almost like a sort of a open air throne room to a certain degree, almost. There's a sort of like a large front porch type thing with a sort of a shaded roof, a large sort of a large wooden throne for all intents and purposes. And there's someone who's dressed up like one of the guards, sort of kneeling in front of it, clearly having been given some sort of report to the woman sitting on the throne, who is flanked by a pair of more ornately dressed warrior types, whose macahuitls are more ornate. They've got more ornate carvings on them, and their spears have sort of long feathers tied beneath the heads, and they're wearing sort of ornamental gear ornamental sort of decorations on their armor and such. The woman, who's human, older, sort of long gray hair, sort of tied, sort of flowing down over her shoulders. One note I forgot to mention: you guys, as you're walking to the village, most of the population here seems to be human. You do see a few non-humans scattered here and there, but it's mostly human.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The other things of note that Injir, one thing you immediately recognize is behind her on the wall is a large stone relief with the sigil of the primal beast of water behind her.
Ah, my people. Maybe.
Maybe. Theo's probably familiar enough with that to pick up on it after Angier.
Yeah. Any of you who even have the religion skill will recognize it immediately.
I don't, but I'm from the water. It'd be kind of impossible to ignore it, I feel.
Tricky? I mean, it depends on how invested you are in the goddess of the water, Oceana.
Not at all, so it's some squiggly lines to me.
You also notice that there is a statue in the sort of courtyard that you walked by of a sort of very regal-looking Naga, actually. Skitch, you recognize immediately as one. Wearing very similar sort of ornate, I guess, priestly robes that similar to what the woman on the throne is wearing.
Mm-hmm.
But clearly not the same person, since one's humans, the other's a Naga.
Right. I mean, Cameron will notice that. It's like, huh. Okay.
But yes, the rest of you will eventually sort of pick up on what it is from having seen them and having heard Cameron mention them from the frescoes and murals in the King of the Seas temple that you were in before.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Cameron's not going to draw. Sorry.
Eric?
Sorry.
Yes?
You to escort presents.
Everyone's turning robot. Is that on me?
No.
Yeah, when you cut out a bit during that.
You cut out a bit there, yeah.
I think this is Discord.
I think word is
I'm
exploding.
not inclined to think it's Discord. I've been having connection issues for like the last weekish or so.
Yep.
Mm.
As you're saying?
Am I good now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Hello there. Kind of you to escort us to your presence.
All right. I was going to mention some other things first, but that's fine.
All right.
But so, this is fine. The guard sort of as you do that, one of the guards sort of looks at you, glares at you as you says, and sort of holds up a hand, and then turns to the woman on the throne and says, hang on a second, make sure I got this. There we go. Elder Makala. These are the strangers who appeared in the Forbidden Temple. I've brought we've escorted them to you so that you may decide what should be done. He nods and sort of steps back and steps to the side, so there's sort of a guard on either side of your group. The two guards on the sort of near her throne also both take a half step forward. She sort of crosses her arms, sort of leans forward and sort of peers at you, sort of squinting a little bit. Strokes her chin a little bit. Well. So, strangers from the forbidden temple of the Lord, the long deceased King of the Seas. Interesting.
You are interesting.
No relation.
I was about to. I'm going to assume for the moment that you will at least claim not to be devotees of the former Lord of the Oceans.
Kali is going to look not so much insulted as like almost amused. Like fucking what? What?
I'm pretty sure that's where Angier's at too. What? That loser?
Like, well, like Kali is wearing her holy symbol around her neck.
I know.
Yeah, but she's just addressing the entire group. That's all.
Yeah.
You know.
Are any of you devotees of the the former Lord of the Seas?
No.
Excellent.
Not exactly
Okay.
the waters I swim.
I will work under that assumption for now, then. And I am assuming that you did not. Okay, were you marooned here via shipwreck recently?
No.
We were marooned, but not by that means.
Mm-hmm.
She arches an eyebrow, and their ears are murmuring from around you. Interesting. Well, strangers, you seem to have arrived. You seem to have arrived upon. You seem to have come to our island and have come across a place that is a place of ill omen, shall we say? What do we do? What do we do? So, I take it you were not. Were you seeking out the temple, or actually, you know what? How did you? You mentioned you were marooned, but not via ship. How did you get here, then, if I may ask?
It's all a bit of a story, but the summation of it is we ended up emerging from a broken gate on what I presume to be the other island over there over the horizon, and upon which we found some ruins while just exploring around after hunkering down over that rainstorm yesterday. And within it, we found an inner chamber to the old Lord of the Sea, and there seemed to be a working miniature gate. We activated it and emerged from your temple.
Interesting. I would not say it's our temple. It is a temple we keep an eye on, shall we say.
Mm-hmm.
Understood.
So there is a functioning gate of sorts in there, then? Interesting.
Well, yeah,
It was
but
it was very old, and I don't think it's. I think it had one last gasp.
Interesting.
my suspicion is that the technology only works temporarily, and it has to be manually reactivated at the site on the other island in order for it to work again, which only would work for a temporary interval.
Interesting.
It would make sense from a security standpoint for it to not be a permanent opening in that respect.
A bolt hole of sorts, then.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
You mentioned, you queried about whether any of us were followers of the dead King of the Sea.
Yes.
Is there anyone who's a follower of him around here?
Not here. No. Not within the walls of this village.
But on this, so there was,
Potentially,
strange.
yes. It is a long and much like you. It is a long, complicated story that I'm not sure, which is not generally told to outsiders.
Fair enough.
We have standing orders about what to do with people who emerge from the temple from the High Priestess, but this is interesting.
Your hesitance leads me to believe that the rule is harsh and possibly more harsh than necessary given the circumstances.
Well, as the general assumption, the rule. First off, the standing orders are rather old. Have been in place for quite some time, and it largely assumes that anyone emerging from the temple is definitively a follower of the Lord of the Seas.
Right.
Something from an old time where with social tensions.
That's one way to put it, I suppose. I'm gonna have to send a messenger to the High Priestess, and so yeah. Unfortunately, I cannot make a full decision on how to handle the situation. It's complicated. I will send a runner to the High Priestess, and she will end up deciding your ultimate fates. But for the time being, well, I suppose welcome to Karahata Village.
Oh boy, I'm gonna need that spelled.
Yeah, so do I.
Karahata. I'm gonna guess.
Okay.
Karahata.
You are correct.
Yeah! I win the
Karahata.
spelling bee that only I participated.
Yeah, Karahata. Okay.
I'm never disappointed whenever Wyrot's mic cuts out during the middle of a celebratory shout.
Yeah.
Fucking
So
Discord.
Cameron thinks for a little bit. That name probably does not mean anything on the surface, right?
Not to you. It sounds similar to some dialects from back in your time, but who knows?
Who knows? Yeah. Cameron just sort of like.
Seeing as we're not being detained, as I understand it.
You are welcome to go about your business. If you wish to leave the village, you are welcome to do so. I do not recommend it per se, but but while you're here, I would ask that you keep yourselves out of trouble, and I will have to assign at least a couple people to keep an eye on you all while you're staying here until we hear from the High Priestess.
Right.
Likely, she'll have to be roused from her slumber, and you will either when we find out how she wants to handle it, she'll either come here to investigate you, or you will be asked to go visit her temple. I'm not sure which will be decided yet. It could honestly go either way. It depends on her energy levels. Whether she feels up to the traveling or not. Basically, she's somewhat old, shall we say.
Ah.
I understand. In the meantime, is there some place we can go for some food?
Yes. I believe that there is a place that we. So, unsurprisingly, some members of our community are survivors of shipwrecks and the like, and we have heard tales from outside the storm barrier. So while we don't really have a proper inn, as we would say, because we don't really have much in the way of traveling visitors, we do have a place that you could take temporary lodgings at least, and we do have a meal hall that you'd be welcome to have repast at if you would like.
Sure.
Would the local color object to a performance or two?
I suspect not. If you would, what sort of performance?
Zito will just kind of produce her instruments and
musical.
roll a few notes through her throat.
Musical, excellent. Oh well, I suppose not. All I would ask is, I would suggest that refraining from religious music might be the best plan. Most of us are reasonably. I mean, not everyone here is a devotee of devotee of the same religion, but we try not to step on others' toes that way, at least.
Understood.
It's refreshing.
Got it.
Well,
I
mean,
don't tend to sing about such things anyhow.
very well. I figured I would mention there are some more devout members of our community who might take offense. Is all I'm saying.
Understood.
While I do not take a personal position, my faith is the predominant one here. But and unfortunately, like any faith, there are knuckleheads among them who are a little bit too frothing at the mouth, as it were, than they should be.
Might I ask what is the local dominant religion, just so I don't make any mistakes in that regard?
Sorry. We are devout followers of She Who Swims. He gestures back at the thing.
Right.
The primal dragon of the oceans.
Ah.
She Who Swims.
That is, by the way, that is the term they use for her. Whether it's one Injir does, I don't know.
It's not the one for Injir and the people in his temple. It's she of the submerged voice.
I'm sorry, but She Who Swims is just a very like. I feel like I would worship She Who Swims. That's just like a very inviting title.
I'm just liking how all of these titles could also accurately reflect Ceto.
Yeah,
you're a sea creature, yes.
And I sing.
And a bard, but
I'm a double threat.
So Cameron just sort of like takes out his stuff and just jots down some notes. Okay, got it.
But yes, there are. But as I was saying, I would not recommend venturing too far from the village.
There were these rather reptilian creatures on the other island. Do you have similar here?
I cannot speak as the other island, but yes, there are what we refer to as, well, the very large ones are often referred to as thunder lizards because they are very large and make loud noises when they walk about.
Right.
What about the little death chickens?
Oh, those things are vicious.
Sounds like they're about the same then.
Oh, I would not be surprised if there are others on that island. But yes, there are a fair number of large predatory reptiles out and non-predatory reptilian beasts out here. The environment here is dangerous, shall we say? You all look like you are at least reasonably well kitted out to defend yourselves, but it is a dangerous place. I feel like it would be unbecoming of me not to warn you of the potential dangers that there are potential dangers out there. You might want to consider staying within the walls, at least for the time being.
Entirely reasonable and much appreciated.
Are
there any notable creatures in the ocean and near those docks that we saw on the way here?
Only if you go particularly far out. As long as you stay near the shore, none of the large predators will bother you. You'd have to get out fairly far before the influence of Our Lady would begin to wane. Her influence tends to keep the larger, more dangerous predators away from our bay.
Well,
except for when one of her avatars comes to visit, but that's very rare. When I say avatar, one of her chosen beasts, I should say, really, not really an avatar per se.
Of course.
Jir kind of raises what would be his eyebrow if he had eyebrows at this.
Ceto is going to
Brow
quickly
ridge.
describe the big aquatic reptile that she saw off the coast of the other island and ask if that sounds about consistent with one of these, chosen beasts.
No, those are very, very dangerous. Stay very, 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 very far away from them. Also, they also occasionally hunt in packs when they're younger.
This gives Ceto some how?
When they're younger. There are other very large, dangerous animals out there that they tend to hunt in groups.
When they're young, when they're in their youthful rebel seeking days, they go out in packs and in their biker gangs without bikes underwater, and then they mellow out and just become giant fucking beasts, so
yeah. They are very, very, very dangerous. Fortunately, they tend to need fairly. They tend to favor deep water, although they theoretically can come shallow. I have heard tale of
When
them
you're
actually
a
coming up
shark,
on
you're a shark. When you're an ichthyosaur, you're an ichthyosaur.
I have heard tales of some of those actually following prey that fled into shallow waters, following them into shallow waters, and they're capable of maneuvering themselves in shallow water better than you would think. They
There's
aren't
a
fish.
reason
Turns
why I
out.
kept myself very ready to take shore when I saw that.
Understandable. Oh yes, and of course there are very large sharks in the lake out there.
Right.
Well, there's one fewer out there after that encounter.
I'm not surprised. But yes, welcome to our village. As I said, she gives you rough directions to towards the lodgings that you guys are the place you offered that you can stay at is over sort of in. It's down by building. Be on the map. It'd be over by building 18, that area. And the
far side of town.
Yes. Well, that's just where That's where there's a lot of housing over there, basically.
Right.
And the meal hall is building 14. Now, it's a place where people can come to eat if they don't feel like cooking themselves and such, for themselves that evening or what have you, or if they're they live on their own and are terrible cooks.
I appreciate this public service. I say out of character.
I figured.
So,
yes.
When are meals served?
Generally they're served. There are 3 meals served. There are 3 meals served. One shortly after. They usually ring a bell when they are ready to serve. When they're ready for large numbers of people to come in. But if you truly need something right away, probably convince one of the cooks to whip something up for you quickly.
I was borderline expecting the answer to be like, "Oh, well, we just finished our last meal service for the day, so."
It won't be. It'll be a little while before. It basically usually
at 9:00.
It's short. It's a little while after sunrise, a little bit before sundown, and then roughly midday.
Right. Okay.
What time is it now?
It's a bit past midday. It's sort of mid-afternoon right now.
Alrighty.
Yeah, I think that's everything I can take down for notes for now. All right.
I'm not thinking there's anything else that I particularly want to ask about in the moment.
Oh, yeah, there's things Cameron wants to ask, but he does not want to ask them right now.
Yeah, there are things that Ingier wants to inquire about as well, but we should probably, go.
Bite his tongue a little bit.
Well, I have some other things I must attend to, so I appreciate you coming along as peacefully as you did. I'm glad you all look like you are well armed and armored, and could have made things more difficult for my guards than would have been than any of us would have liked. But I do appreciate your cooperation.
Oh, no problem at all. I think some of us, me at least, are going to head over to that meal hall because I've been eating dried meat and fish for too long.
Well, I hate to disappoint you, but a large portion of our provisions here is fish. I mean, there's a bay right out there,
Yeah, it would stand to reason.
Consider the coconut.
Oh, we use that too. But as I said, they'll see if they can do something for you. We do have other options, obviously, but fish is a large staple of our diet here.
Right.
I'm just borderline thinking of Cameron, just like being like if he was like completely an idiot, like, huh? So what? Where's the nearest vending machine? Sort of vibe. Like, what? You guys don't have vending machines?
Where's the nearest McDonald's?
What? there is a McDonald's here, right? They're
Oh,
they're everywhere.
Glix is an Arby's, man. We're going to Arby's.
Glix would be an Arby's guy.
Just being like, let's like come on, let's get McDonald's. And Glix is like, we got McDonald's at home. And then he shows up, and then we come home, and there's just an Arby's at the house. It's like, this doesn't count, and you fucking know it.
Well, it's really impressive that he just got an Arby's at his house.
Oh, jeez. Like, I'm just imagining the first time, like, whenever that cabin shows up, it's just going to have an Arby's hat on it.
Oh no, it'd be one of those repurposed Arby's, so it's now like a witch's hat.
No wonder everyone died on this island. Oh.
I want to see the Arby's hat repurposed as a witch's hat.
It'd be great.
Oh,
It's like
that would be-
it's turned into a spirit Halloween.
Gosh.
Okay, so we know what the meal hall is. Is there any other kind of like gathering place where people hang out? I'm asking Peter about like what I noticed when we walked through the village to the.
fair enough.
Oh wait, before we leave, Jir gives the head priestess a nice formal bow, and he's like, I need to go with my friends for the time being, but would it be all right if I came back later to discuss some religious matters, perhaps? I too am a follower of Shi.
Interesting. Yeah, I suppose. Possibly shortly after evening meal. Possibly, I should have some time then.
Thank you very much.
She
Gives
nods.
her an even deeper bow and goes back with the friends.
So yeah, of things of note that you saw, Eric.
I've also got the criminal background, so anything shady I might have picked out.
You didn't really pick out anything particularly shady, actually.
I'm
How
why am I surprised that there's not much shady happening here?
All right. Well, unsurprisingly, sort of by the gate you guys came in, the two little buildings 4 and 8 there are guardhouses, basically. Area 20 is sort of a training area for the village's warriors.
Okay.
You saw a bunch of people training with wooden weapons there. Blunted spears, makoito that don't have the obsidian blades shoved into them.
Right.
So that they don't kill each other during training.
They don't like sever one another's heads, right?
Yeah.
So are these things okay? Are these things? Do they have like volcanic glass in them, or do they have like shark teeth in them?
It's obsidian.
It is obsidian, okay? Because like if it was like a Polynesian kind of thing, they kind of do the same thing, but with like shark teeth.
No, I'll put it this way. There's a lot of obsidian here.
Don't forget,
Wow.
we are like there is a volcano nearby. Obsidian's probably not that hard to get.
It's not.
Yeah.
Now, shark teeth
Oh,
aren't
God.
super hard to get, so they probably use them for some stuff, but they prefer not hunting sharks because, you can just get obsidian. You can go get obsidian and nap it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the obsidian won't try and eat you.
Yes. They're not like 40-foot long apex predators, although they're not actually apex here.
The obsidian, the
obsidian shark sounds amazing.
Wow.
That would be terrible at swimming. Just gonna put that out there.
The
Depends on what it's swimming in.
The obsidian
Swims
shark
in
sounds
lava,
like-
dude.
That just sounds like the spruce.
Lava sharks, dude.
All right, I'm on board. I'm on board with lava sharks.
I was going to say that the obsidian has ceased trying to eat you after it stopped being magma.
All right, I'm gonna argue that it has to be at least a meth lab here because a village this size always has a meth lab.
There's no meth lab here.
What kind of place is this?
Well, there's no meth.
it-
There is no meth in this setting, Eric.
Yeah. Also, depending on the chemicals, they may not have the means to make it. Well, at least not make that. Listen, like the camera might be regarding Glix muttering about this stuff and say, "What are you trying to do, man?"
So there's
He's
all-
trying to get in trouble.
That's yes.
But yes, Eric, Glix does not notice much in the way of a criminal underground here. I'll put it that way.
For some reason, all the meth that they're making, instead of being blue, is black, and it's in all their spears.
I mean, listen, okay, unless those spears are all just like they are also just really, really tall bongs at the same time. I'm not sure what the drug culture is here.
I will say, yeah, there is no alchemically made drug industry in this village. No.
Right.
Yeah.
If there's any drug industry here, it's going to be you find something, smoke it as is. There's your drug. Dry
Pretty
it,
much.
And smoke it as is.
It's probably not illegal.
Probably not. No.
Right.
It's probably part of a religious ceremony. Honestly.
Yeah.
Consider the Tokyo nut.
Jeez.
But Cameron's just sort of like looking at Glick being like all upset about there not being like crime opportunities here.
This place is idyllic, and there's no fighting. Everybody gets along. Where the hell are we?
Sure. Everyone gets along all the time. Yes,
Everyone
that's
gets along.
They only have warriors and guards, warriors who act as guards and such for I guess for protecting from the dinosaurs reasons.
Tradition. It's a traditional thing.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. They're actually the local sports team in their downtime.
At any rate, other things of note that you noticed. You probably sort of building 10 is sort of the buildings like there are sort of is it 10? No, sorry. Looking 12 and 13 is sort of the general area where you noticed there was looks like sort of craftsman worked in general.
Mm-hmm.
12 is sort of where the leather worker type is. 13 is the local tool / weapon maker. You notice that it looked like there's some sort of farm type thing over by 20 in the 20 area. You're not sure what it is exactly. You saw people sort of with farming implements, sort of had that air of farmers sort of heading in that general direction. But
Okay.
you'd have to go over there and look to get a feel for it.
It's the agrarian territory.
Sort of, yeah.
Gonna ask Johnny Lingo about his cows.
So that's where they are.
That's what you've noticed so far for the path you guys have taken to get where you were.
Huh.
When you if you head over towards the food hall, area 15 seems to be sort of a open air market to a degree.
Right.
Okay.
And you notice that there's Eric. You will notice this immediately because of who you are.
Right.
There doesn't seem much in the way of currency here. There's a lot of bartering.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
they do have a. You will find out. I'm not gonna go into detail how you find this out, but you will find out over time. They do have a currency of sorts, but it's mostly for trading with other villages, which you will find out about later.
Mm-hmm.
But within
I'm
the village,
guessing
it's mostly they handle most things through barter.
I'm guessing, given the general flavor of the area, it's that that particular shell that's really pretty that was used as currency in.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, they
can't remember what
probably
it's called.
yeah. It starts with a C if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Cameron's just sort of just nodding along.
Cowries.
Cowries, yes, that's it.
Cowrie shells, yes.
Probably something along those lines. Yeah.
Well, this
Yeah,
is
again, there's not. I'll say there's not a lot of metal on this island, so.
Cameron just sort of rubs his head a bit, thinking, "Okay, so chances are whoever was on the other island either got here outright, or made an
By one of
effort
those
to get over
giant
here.
sea lizards that Cedo saw.
Possibly, for sure, yes.
I mean,
I wouldn't-
we could just ask around.
I was planning on doing that.
We'll probably be
Awesome.
speaking with the mayor here once again.
Yeah,
Mayors don't know shit. You gotta ask real people.
It's entirely possible that they just left the other island because of volcanic eruption.
yeah, but where?
Perhaps they
but
have their own settlement elsewhere. That's entirely possible.
yeah, that's a possibility. I doubt they went somewhere other than here, just because this is the closest island, and they did say specifically in their journal they were hoping that this island would be better than the one that they were on. So,
Anyways,
wonder why I'm
you
hearing
guys
some
do make your way
laughing.
over to the meal hall.
Yeah.
It is most there are a couple people sort of sitting around or chatting mostly. Some of them are drinking some sort of beverage while they sit at tables chatting.
On the way over,
Yes.
did the market area seem to be more active than this is currently?
Oh yeah, there are people bustling about, sort of bartering and trading and stuff.
All right.
And they all seem to speak common, which is nice.
Yes, that is yes. Everyone seems to be speaking common. Yep. It's you do hear they do use words you don't know that. Okay, they occasionally use words that almost none of you recognize every now and then, but you can pick up what they are from context.
Mhm.
Skitch, they are words you do recognize.
Huh. Cool.
Their pronunciation is slightly different, but you're like, hey, that sounds like the word for, I don't know, it's a. That's the word that the people in the southwestern part of the continent where you were when you were from
Right.
used to describe a hammer, say.
Right. Huh. So Cameron's just sort of that's interesting. Marks things down. If someone if someone like Glix opens what the hell are they saying? Cameron will probably just chime what the words mean when they come up.
Yeah, for the most part, for the most of them, you can pretty easily pick it up from context in general, especially
Right.
in the marketplace. But it's usually like a noun that they are basically suggesting. How much? What do you want for this insert word? This haka, and it's like holding up a hammer. It's like, okay, I think that means hammer.
Sure. I get that, but
But yeah, that might happen later. Yes.
right. So notes being taken, moving along. Standard Cameron antics.
Yes,
here.
I imagine so. But yes, one of the people who clearly work at the food hall, who's a very large, burly man, with a shaven head, sort of fairly large amount of tattoos all over the place. Sort of looks up at you and goes, "Ah, the strangers.
Mm.
I see.
You are very strange.
You're very strange to me.
Indeed.
She was like, "Hello."
I take it that the I take it Elder Macalas has decided that you are, at least for the time being, free to wander about.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we were told we could get a meal, maybe a drink, and maybe hang out and learn more about your fine little village here.
Well, it'll be a little while till dinner time, but I can. I think we've got some stuff that I can throw something together for you all.
Cameron's
That would be
gonna
most
ask.
appreciated.
Cameron will do something that's a little bit of a weird tell, and he will ask for prawn or whatever but asks so using what he assumes is the regional dialect for that type of that type of.
So you asked for crawdads essentially.
Right.
We don't have any. We don't have any. We don't have any in right now.
Uh-huh.
But I can definitely get you. I'll see what I can do.
No, I mean, I just wanted to just sort of see what the reaction would be for him. He
just sort of rolls with it. He doesn't seem to be thinking about it at the moment.
Yeah.
But he very clearly recognizes what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'll bring out. Would soup be all right?
Soup would be nice.
Okay, We've got some soup left over from the midday meal, and some other stuff. I'll bring some of the leftovers out from that. We'll just reheat the soup a little bit, and we'll bring out something for you to drink. Just pick a table, sit down.
Great. What about drinks?
Sit down, he says.
What about something with a bit of kick?
Curl up.
Don't have any of that here. No, sorry.
Ah,
You'd have to visit one of the brewers in the northern part of town.
I'm going to assume.
good to know.
Would you have any cushions? Sitting isn't something my people tend to do.
He sort of looks and goes, we actually did have a merfolk visitor once who asked the same thing. Let me ask about. I suspect we have something. I suspect we have something we can at least work for you.
Thank you.
Anyways, he heads back. He heads back to the back behind sort of the into the pantry area.
Cameron's probably going to assume that any alcohol they have here is probably going to be like rum adjacent or anything like that, or stuff like that. Things distilled from certain types of plants or sugar and otherwise, and just sort of like,
Soup. A curious concoction. Based entirely around water and yet entirely unconsumable within it.
Yeah, but it's
yeah. I guess that makes sense. I mean, I guess you get like a wine skin with like a little nozzle on the end. You could like suckle on it.
possibly, but that would only work well for, I don't know, like a squash soup or broccoli soup or something like that. I'm going to assume. I'm trying to assume like what type of soup they have here is probably something akin to like the Peruvian seafood soups that I get around here. Stuff like
Something
that.
along those. Yeah, it's going to be a fish soup. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, fish. This probably has some roots and stuff inside of it.
Fish.
Apparently,
It'll be
apparently.
Sorry, go ahead.
So apparently, there is a kind of like Polynesian kind of like native alcoholic spirit made from a plant. So yeah,
Oh,
it could be.
there is alcohol here. They don't have it here.
Yeah.
I'm going to be very amused if it just comes out being New
Civilization.
England clam chowder.
Every civilization with more than 50 people in it has figured out booze.
Well,
So
yeah, it is a way to store liquid. It turns out.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
interestingly enough, it was something they were taught how to do by English seamen.
The one of the things that I'm thinking chupe de pescado, I think that's what it is. Just Peruvian fish soup or something along the lines of that. It's kind of like what I'm expecting it. But like, yeah.
Well, yeah. At any rate, you are brought out. Eventually, he comes back out with a pot, which looks has been warmed up. That he sits down in the middle. It's got a pot with a ladle in it. Sets out some bowls. With some simple spoons, and sits down. And then someone else brings out a bunch of cups and sets down a large pitcher, within which there is. It's basically coconut milk. It's just been watered down slightly, which is not,
Yeah.
Or it's coconut water, really, honestly.
Right.
Now I'm thinking about it. No, yeah. Enjoy. He brings out something that's roughly equivalent to bread, but it's not really bread.
Right.
okay.
They don't grow a lot of wheat here. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
There is breadfruit.
At any rate,
All right. I will probably eat more soup than can a 3-foot-tall goblin could be imagined to eat.
Gonna need to take such a piss later. While we are eating, Kali is going to be looking around if there is like literally anyone else aside from the chef and the staff
There is.
in the dining hall.
there
Okay.
is. There are some people. There's a group. There's a couple. There's an older gentleman who's sitting at a table, talking with two other guys who look sort of not quite as old as he is, but definitely on the older side. He's sort of leaning back on. He's sort of got his feet up on a stool. And he's got a very sort of. He seems to be smoking a pipe of sorts.
Is there anyone shooting us dirty looks or
Nope,
staring at us? Nope.
They seem
All
to be paying you no mind at the moment.
Either they haven't.
Word seems
Either
to
they
have gotten
haven't
around that
noticed.
the word seems to have gotten around that the elder has said, "Yeah, they are not. They're almost
cool.
they're almost certainly not followers of the dead god." So there's that at least, and they don't seem to be acting like pirates. So
Yeah, we've passed the
chance.
litmus test of being cool.
well, you are clearly not obviously enemies at the moment. So
Mm-hmm.
We're not trying hard enough. Got it. Yeah. Say no more. Anyway,
Tito
Cameron's
will
just-
barely be able to look over the brim of the table.
You
And
are
will
brought. You are, by
repur-
the way, you are brought out a couple of cushiony type things.
Hooray. Zeta will repurpose one of the chairs to act as a table for her.
well, Cameron will just sort of tap a little bit on the notebook a little bit and just sort of think, So this place is certainly a little, well, I'm going to say strange, but there are some interesting things about it.
The old gentleman, the two old other gentlemen at the table with the old guy, sort of eventually get up, sort of nod to the guy, and wander off. He takes a puff on his pipe, looks at him, and says, "Ah, so you're the strangers in town, huh?"
We are. You care to sit and join with us?
Yeah, why not? Hang on. He sort of slowly levers himself up to his feet, drags his stool over with him, and puts his feet back up. So what are you young folks doing here? What brings you to our lovely island?
Oh, a long, confusing pile of stupid. You know how it goes.
Engineer, who's still eating the soup, just kind of nodding at that.
Huh.
Yeah. Basically,
From the other side of the table, you can see like the bobs of Cito's hair just kind of like going up and down as she nods.
Cameron will just chime in and be like, well, to be strictly honest, we didn't really arrive here by choice, but yeah, by happenstance.
That seems to be the case for most outsiders.
Mm-hmm.
Shipwreck?
No, Shipwreck.
That's...
No.
I hear a story.
Oh gosh. Well, there's a semblance of a story there, but I really, it's just a bit of a thing.
Fair enough.
Needless to, yeah.
Kalia will start talking at this point and just say, "We were attempting to stop the followers of a god who was trying to interfere in the ways of nature from corrupting the cycle of life and death. In the aftermath of that battle, a portal opened before us that led us to a nearby island. On that island, we found a portal that led us here."
Ah.
Well, I'm going to correct you a little bit there, Kalia. I don't know if we were on a nearby island from that portal. Just an island. Nearby to here, maybe, but not from where we were.
I think that's what she was saying.
That's what I said.
Well, the word nearby was ambiguous enough for Cameron to interject.
Kalia is going to look at Cameron like, "Are you seriously doing this to me right now?"
God has interfered. He's sort of like, you see him sort of doing.
They call themselves Cult of the Black Earth. They made terrible mushroom liquor, made zombies. There's all kinds of problems.
Oh, followers Eukarya.
Yeah.
Ah.
Anyway, we stopped them. There was some sort of magical happenstances, and then we ended up on that island, where we found angry chickens and an abandoned pirate village and a lost temple, and then more magical idiocy.
You hear an audible sigh from where you mentioned the abandoned pirate village. How recently abandoned?
I had no idea.
Several months, according to the journals that we found.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like it might be the source of one of our troubles then.
So it sounds like that they might have found their way over here and have been, well, causing trouble since they've arrived.
Yeah. So, unsurprisingly, there a fair number of we every now and then that a shipwreck will happen in the general area. Some poor souls who found their way into the barrier of storms and end up on the other side and end up wrecking on our island. Some of them end up joining one of the villages. Some don't feel like they fit in with us, and they've started their own little village. And I wouldn't say they're friendly. We've gotten along well enough to trade usually until about 4 or 5 months ago.
Oh, what happened then?
Well, a group, apparently, from what I'm hearing, from what I've heard from some of our more enterprising trader types, sounds like a group of sailors, piratey types, I guess, arrived in their little community and took over. through dint of being better armed and generally more aggressive and obnoxious.
Right.
Yeah, sounds like the type.
Well,
Persuasive diplomacy.
yeah, and they've sort of taken to why trade when we can just take stuff from the locals.
Right.
So we're sort of debating. We've been sort of debating. One of the debates amongst the warriors have been, what should we do about these clowns?
Mm-hmm.
The elder has basically told the head warrior that to hold off on direct attack for now, but to come up with a plan to deal with them at some point if need be.
Right.
Hiro has a notion. Remind me of that after this gentleman has left our presence.
But yeah, that's sort of one of the problems we've had in the general vicinity. So yes,
Right.
we're not. I at least, and most of us here, are none too fond of pirates. You're not pirates, are you?
Nope.
Not last I checked.
Excellent. You didn't seem like it, but I figured I should ask.
Right.
My father made a career of raising ships, not sinking them.
Ah,
Injir, who's sitting on some kind of stool, his legs kind of like dangling from the floor. It's like, I don't think I'm a pirate.
We're definitely not pirates. Never been on a ship in my life.
which makes you something of an anomaly here.
I suppose it would for most, although perhaps not for any merfolk who might make their way here.
That yes, as I said, something of an anomaly. Not There aren't many goblin folk here, but I've seen here, but most I've seen were sailors. If not all.
I have a little bit of a question for you. So when we were talking with the elder, they queried about whether we were followers of the dead Lord of the Sea.
Well, you apparently emerged from one of his temples, so.
Oh no, I'm aware of why why we were asked that question. I'm more curious about, well, two things. One, what is known about the dead Lord of the Sea, and who actually is a follower of him, because who would follow a god who's been long dead if that's the case?
Madmen mostly. Mad folk, really. But, there's, from what I understand, and the general rumor is, out there somewhere in the deep in the forest, there is a cult of, there's a cult who still follow the old ways and the old gods. Most of them seem to be dedicated to the former King of the Seas. From what there is scuttlebutt that they're trying to do something profane and awful, but I don't know. As I said, it's rumor and scuttlebutt, and I've never met any of them. So the cult may not actually exist. It may just be, long tales of a long forgotten time that have still percolated through the communities and such.
Fair enough. And then, so I'm just sort of curious about that, because.
But yes, the high priestess has warned us has many times over the years has issued warnings about them, that they are not to be followers of the Sea King, are not to be trusted, basically, and are to be considered foes and enemies, and very dangerous folk.
By fiat, they are untrustworthy outright.
Yeah.
I presume that at some point in history, this community or some community that this one stemmed from had hostilities.
Honestly, I don't know.
Fair enough.
Given,
I mean, the gods, the old gods have been dead a long time, so.
Yeah. Well, it'd be if there was any conflict with followers of that god when he was alive, it'd be so many generations ago. It would be anything that would be documented could almost be thought of as apocryphal, depending on what type of stories were being told. So
I would imagine so.
Those are some big words.
What? They're incredibly cromulent at the very least. So I'm not sure what your problem is.
And Jir's like, apocryphal what? All the stories about the gods are true.
No, not.
Tito's going to take this opportunity to begin tuning her guitar.
Yeah.
There are various pirates or sailors that have become marooned on this island and ended up joining one of the villages. You say
Yes. Over the years, yeah.
that would mean then that there are some tales of the world outside this island that have reached here. Some
Absolutely.
aspects of the culture and knowledge.
Mm-hmm. I would say so. Yep.
To your knowledge, has anyone of them ever succeeded in leaving the island to attempt to return to their home?
Nope.
And why do you think that is?
Well, from what I have been told, it is impossible to pass back out through the barrier of storms.
So there's a barrier of storms then,
Yes.
like a big ring.
Yes.
Wait a minute. Is this area geographically located in the center of the seas between the continents?
Roughly, I'd imagine so. Yes.
That makes sense.
I'm glad someone makes sense to someone.
Cameron's trying to think here.
I think I know what you're talking about out of character, but I don't in character. So
Yeah. The Glix has no idea what you're talking
Vito's
about.
probably the only one who would have any reason to actually have an idea about this.
Well, yeah, I was say like.
I mean, I'm assuming you're talking about tidal systems and how, but or is it a lore thing?
It's a lore thing.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to studiously say absolutely nothing.
I'm just saying, if I'm on the right track, the only reason that she would know is because the merfolk are the ones least inhibited from investigating the idea.
Sure. Well, if Cito says that out loud, I mean, Kalia is now suddenly on the track of like, oh shit, how are we gonna get out of here? So she looks at her. What makes you bring that up?
Well, my people often swim all about the oceans, as we are wont to do. It's generally considered a poor idea to head towards the central point between the continents because there's a lot of, well, a lot. My understanding is, from rumors I've heard, is that's where the actual clash of the gods took place, and other such things. So there's all kinds of latent magical ley lines and nexuses that are all having kinds of confluences and whatnot. Basically, the world is just kind of active around this area, so getting into it is a bit of a lot.
So we have managed to land by sheer circumstance in the part of the map that is marked "Here there be dragons," and it is actually true.
Wait a minute, there are dragons here? I look at the old guy.
Metaphorical dragons.
Well, they're I mean, yeah, very rare, very few. There are tales of them at least. I've not seen one, but
One thing that I can confirm is that there's a very strong underwater tidal barrier in the area that I'm describing. So if we are in that area, that would certainly explain why it would appear that all of the animal life seems to be rather distinctly different and forgotten by time, as opposed to where we all come from, respectively.
Nothing here can get out.
Mm-hmm.
And anything that gets in stays.
Yeah, and usually anything that comes in here is, not going to have the advantages of whatever's been living here for so long. So, in many ways,
I guess you guys don't have a gate round here then.
nope, not that I'm aware of.
Right.
I suppose there could be one somewhere really deep into the jungle somewhere,
Right.
but none of our scouts have, according to the tales and to the reports of our scouts over that have been reported back, that have been recorded in the said tales, none have been found.
So I'm going to assume that this culture, your people as a collective broadly have been here since, at least originated since before the gods died, before the war.
Possibly. We have no tales of the fall of the. We have very little information about the. We know that there was a war between the old gods and the new gods, and the old gods lost, but that's sort of the extent of it.
Right.
I suspect the head priestess and her attendants might have more information on that. I don't know.
Sure.
Jir kind of nods and mentally puts that in his brain as something to ask her about later.
Right. I'm just sort of trying to.
Sorry, the high
trace out,
priestess. The high priestess is what he said.
Not the
Not the
Not
local.
the leader.
yeah.
Yeah.
It is
By the way-
possible then
Go ahead.
that it is possible that we may be able to find a way out of here. After all, it seems that we are the first to have found the exact method of our entry.
I suppose. If you need to get out of here, then I wish you luck on that.
By the way, my good man, I don't believe I caught your name.
Oh, yes. Godric.
Ah, a pleasure. I am Sito, songstress of the sea.
I just imagine like she has like a signature flourish that she does every time.
Oh,
she does
absolutely.
that.
Absolutely. She took that one champions or mutants, whatever it was, that you get like a little fanfare every time you show up. She absolutely.
As an aside,
as a point, and to emphasize it, as she says it, she like just does like a strum along with her name.
Yep.
Right.
as an aside, for most of you, the name Godric really sounds like it's something from from over in the sort of the Severed Kingdoms area of the.
Yeah.
It's a very. It does not sound like a lot of the other names you have heard here.
Yeah, that is that definitely made Glix's ears perk up. This guy is not a local,
Or at least he's some of his family weren't,
Or
at least.
Right.
Yeah, he's got family that weren't.
Yeah.
So, Godric, what do people do around here for fun?
Depends on their inclinations. Some participate in some do sports. He describes a game involving a ball and honestly, he describes something that's sort of vaguely lacrosse-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Or
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah,
another
yeah.
one that's a little bit like soccer / football.
Mm-hmm.
Or swimming races and the like. Music's popular around here. Storytelling. Some people do play games of chance for fun.
There we go. You guys have any place where where folks gather around for that sort of thing?
Usually in the evenings you can find some people playing dice games here in the food hall after meal.
All right then. And
there's another
fine.
one they play a game that involves tiles and with little symbols on them and such. I've never really followed it myself.
Oh boy, they have Mahjong.
Actually, it's
Or
closer to Dominoes.
Scrabble.
It's closer to Dominoes,
Dominoes, okay.
but it's basically Dominoes.
You know what? The
Oh, man,
hilarious
we're gonna-
thing
we're
at
gonna
this
meet the-
point.
We're gonna meet the Bone Street crew.
The hilarious thing is, at this point in my life, I'm more confident in being able to win Mahjong than being able to win Dominoes.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think I know the rules to Mahjong better than I know the rules to Dominoes.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I don't.
I know how to
remember
play
this shit,
dominoes,
bro.
but I have never won.
I used to know how to play dominoes. I don't remember anymore.
Yeah,
But,
exactly. That's where I'm sitting.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's basically like Rummy,
Yeah.
but in a different like.
Well, so's
visual
Mahjong to a
format,
large
so.
degree. Is the thing. They're not.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
They're sort of similar
Yeah.
games in a lot of ways, honestly.
Yeah.
Mahjong's just a little more complicated, if I remember correctly, but my memory's not good
It
on that
is.
sort of thing.
If I remember correctly, like both are kind of like cards in that you are expected to cheat if you're a bad person.
I mean, I'm sure that there are some very serious dominoes players out there who, if they heard this, would be nodding their heads in agreement. So,
Okay.
all right.
Yeah, so last thing, Cameron just sort of like thinks for a moment before saying, out of curiosity,
Mm-hmm.
he pulls out his gun, and just holds it up to the side and points at the crystal set up in the chamber in there. It's like, anyone around here seen one of these? And he taps the crystal itself.
The old man Godric sort of peers forward and says, no idea. Is that a weapon of some sort?
Nah, it's not important. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
I was just
Well, I was going to say, if it is, maybe the one the weaponsmith might have a clue, but I don't.
I'll keep that in mind.
I hear tell there are brewers around here.
Oh, yeah. They do some interesting stuff with coconut water and such, and some other things too. Some damn fools decided to try making some sort of fermented thing with seaweed. Let's just say I don't have a taste for it.
Fair enough. But I guess they're up in the northern part of the village. Then
Yeah,
that's what our host said there.
Yeah, that's where they're up sort of up near the docks, up in the sort of northern part of town. Yeah.
Well, I don't know about you lot, but I'm gonna go look for some spirits, so to speak, and I'll be back. I'm gonna hop down and go looking for booze.
Okay.
At this, Jir kind of raises his hand up. It's like, do you have something other than gold to buy that with?
Oh, I can find something. Don't you worry.
It was just giving a general reminder that they don't take our money here, really.
I mean, you could try to offer them gold. They will be singularly unimpressed. They'll recognize it as gold.
Yeah.
A largely useless metal.
Yeah.
Very pretty though.
Fucking. What are you?
I mean, yeah, you
fucking
can use it for
losers?
decorations and such, I guess. But
They're a bunch of
not
fucking
hard.
tools with.
honestly, it's not that hard to get on this island. It turns out.
Yeah.
Really?
Well,
Oh
or
no.
it wasn't at one point.
Like, it just
Actually,
doesn't have much-
Eric, you'll get to find out about that in a minute. Actually, I'll get to that in a second. Actually, now that I think about it.
All right.
Uh,
Zito is going to politely excuse herself and thank the gentleman for his conversation. She's going to declare that she's going to head over to the market and just start to perform.
Okay. You'll probably attract a respectable crowd. Well, when that happens.
That is the plan.
I take it that the weaponsmiths would be at the market as well.
The weaponsmith himself is is at building 13.
Okay.
It's just down the way.
Okay.
The
And then
people who
Gear's
trade
gonna head
weapons. The people who trade. That's where his workshop is, basically.
Right. Cameron might swing over by the weaponsmith.
Okay.
And whoever is nearby, he'll probably walk with for the time being.
Okay. Anybody else doing anything?
Jir has that appointment with the village elder to talk about religious things.
She mentioned that would be after dinner time, though. So
Yeah.
Okay, so we still have a little bit of time.
yeah, it's a little while. Yeah.
Well, while we still have Godric, Kalia is going to see if she can find out about if there is any other kind of like religious cultural center in the village beyond just having the elder here.
Well, the elder she holds ceremony. She does hold ceremonies here from time to on a regular basis that are basically held from she does it. There are regular sort of major ceremonies she sort of holds sort of in the sort of roughly in the center of town. Over basically over Area 16. Turns out there's a statue to the to she who swims over at 16. That's what the dot there is. It's a large. Yeah. Anyone who wanders over there will see the large stone statue that is sort of inlays of some sort of blue crystal in it. That is in the shape of a large sort of aquatic-y dragon, basically. Which, Injur will recognize immediately. As will Kalia, actually.
We have a religion skill.
Yes. That's where she holds her, basically, the major ceremonies. Minor ceremonies she tends to hold from her residence over at 11.
God.
There are members of there are followers of other gods who hold small ceremonies in various parts of town from time to time. There are small groups who follow. There's a group who follows Oceana. There are a bunch of humans from. It's a group of humans who wrecked here. They're descendants of humans who wrecked here a while back from the Severed Kingdoms. There's a group who follow Ignia, who are originally from the Caliphate. They're small groups of followers of several of the current pantheon, basically.
Calio would like to find out if anyone feels like, because, remembering how Cameron reacted to her, how do people feel about Mortis?
I mean, Mortis is I mean, there are no real sort of devotees of Mortis here. I'll put it that way.
Right.
But it's like, yeah, Mortis, the god of death, he's important. All of us acknowledge, both Mortis and Terra's, and Terra's, importance in terms of, the life-death cycle and all that sort of stuff. But none of us are devotees of them. It's like, yeah, they're important, but devoting one's life to them is, well, honestly, a little odd to a lot of our minds.
Yes.
Nothing bad about it. It's just, it's sort of they're both sort of omnipresent parts of everyday life to a large degree. So singling them out just seems a little, I don't know.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
He sort of has a look of I don't have a really good reason for you why, but it's
It is not how things are here.
Yes. But I've never met a devotee of either of them. I take it that you are a devotee of Mortis.
I have the sense that if I'm not here for a reason, then at the very least I must carry on as an agent of his in this area.
Fair
I am
enough.
simply attempting to find out about how well that would be received before I take any action.
Depends on what you mean by that, honestly. I don't know much about the. I don't think many of us know much about the actual sort of practices and the like of your faith. So I'd be hard pressed to say.
Then perhaps this will be an opportunity for each of us.
I kind of wish everything Kalia said didn't sound like a vague threat.
I'm really confident
That's just how she is. Like,
just the camera narrows on her eyes. We'll just have to take advantage of this situation, really.
to learn from each other, because we're each strained. See, if I keep on going like that, I sound awkward. So I end on the ominous note. And then it sounds better.
Yep.
Mhm.
Maybe that's like just part of the way things are done in her order. It's just like that's like you just talk that way.
It's like
Don't
so
say
what-
more than necessary. Let people fill things in as they may. And if they misunderstand what you're talking about, oh well.
now, so wait, so how would you say goodbye to your parents? It's like, hopefully I'll be able to see you again. What? why are you hoping you'll be able to see me again?
I feel
No.
I feel like
Kali will say, if this is like an in-character thing, Kali will say in response to that, any members of the Order who have living parents have to let them know constantly that they may die on their next mission and never leave them the illusion that they could not.
Yeah.
So
It's like
and to
What
that
a
end, I think it would
Fun
be
order that you belong to.
and to that end, I feel like it would be farewell, mother.
And then it just Miracle Max and like, have fun storming the castle.
Goodbye, mother. Goodbye, father. If I do not see you in this life, perhaps I will meet you on the other side.
And now I'm off to the market.
it's like
Anyway, I'll be back around 5 for game night.
it's like while I'm out acquiring milk, be aware that your death or my own are equally inevitable in this situation. I just want you to know I'll be.
No,
thinking about that.
that's going
It may
too
or may
far.
not be because of the milk.
No. I'm just saying. It's just like either of us might die. I'm not saying. I'm promising. I'm just saying I'll be thinking about it the whole time.
Oh,
What's going on there?
Nothing.
okay.
Sorry, I accidentally brushed against my mic. That was my bad. Sorry about that.
Anyway.
All good.
Anyway, so but anyway, Cameron is just sort of like jotting down notes, drawing pictures, whatever he does.
Little scrolls like, God, Kali is weird.
Like this is going on the list. This is going on the list here.
Oh boy, the list of Cameron. Oh boy.
Cameron has lists for everyone. Okay, each person has their own list, custom crafted about their own idiosyncrasies.
You're a little psychopath. That's cool.
Now, listen. Only it depends on what idiosyncrasies I'm paying attention to.
I guess very generally, yes.
But it's a little more than like, yeah, Kali does say things weird, doesn't she? It's like that's the length of that note.
All
right. Well, but yeah, if things are like that, then Kali is going to just kind of look at Injira and ask if she could just come along for the meeting with the Elder, because I think that's where she's got to start before she can do anything else. So.
Yeah. In the meantime, what are y'all doing while we wait for dinner? I guess is the question.
Well, while you guys debate that, I'm gonna handle Eric's because I want to get that out of the way before I forget.
Right.
So Eric, you arrive and you are able to spot the Brewers Shack, as it were, without too much effort. The place where you see occasionally people walking out carrying a jug of some sort with them.
Gentlemen, I'm told that this is where you guys brew things what are tasty and get you drunk.
Ah, yes, we make spirits of various sorts here. Yes, I take it you are one of the Outlanders, the new visitors, as it were.
What gave it away? Was it the hat? It's always the hat.
The hat, among other things. Also, there aren't that many goblins in town, so you're a new face.
Oh, I am new, so you have me there.
So you're looking for something with a bit more potency than the usual fare. Then I take it.
Yeah. Coconut's milk is all good and all, but want something to give me a bit of a kick.
Do you mind it being coconut based, or would you like something else?
Let's set out a flight and see what's enjoyable.
You know what? All right, I'll set. Actually, it's a flight. Oh, a sampler. Yes.
Yeah.
Sure, we can do that. He sets out a few little sort of miniature, basically shot glass type cups made out of. Well, they're made of clay basically. They're.
Okay.
It seems that there's a potter of some sort in town. Clay is not that hard to get here, apparently. And pours out something. Basically, pours out a beverage. There's what is very obviously is distilled coconut water, basically distilled coconut.
Right.
There is something that looks like it's made from fermented coconuts. That's fermented as opposed to distilled.
Right.
It's the stuff which they it's probably the stuff that which they distill into the other one.
Right.
And something that smells very, very noticeably of the sea, but definitely smells of alcohol also.
Okay.
Those are the three they have at hand. Most of what they do is working with coconut, which has naturally occurring sugar in it, which makes fermenting it easier.
Right.
Yep.
All right. So Glix will try them all.
Yep. I have no idea whether you'll like the one that's the fermented kelp one or not. That's up to you whether you like it or not.
Incoming Constitution check.
Honestly, that sounds vaguely disgusting and goblin-y, so it's probably the one he's most interested in.
Fair enough. I thought that might be the case. You have an interesting palate, sir.
The nose helps. He taps his big nose.
All right. Well.
I've got some gold and I got some silver, but it doesn't seem like you guys use that a lot around here.
Well, they're not much
It's
use. They're
very pretty.
pretty's nice, all nice and good, but I mean, when it comes to useless materials that are pretty, we sort of settled on. He holds up sort of the cowrie shells a long time ago. They've been sort of part of our culture. So culturally, gold, which is I hate to say it, largely useless, except in both gold and silver are not particularly useful outside of decorative sort of stuff. Apparently, there's legends that applying silver to weapons has use on some nasty critters. So that might have some use.
I've heard that. I've heard it's pretty good for taking out them shapeshifters.
I'll have to take your word on that, sir. But gold's kind of soft and it's pretty, so it can be used for decorative stuff. But it used to be pretty common around here, which is why you see a fair bit of stuff that's decorated with it around the village if you look carefully enough.
Really,
but,
it was.
Well, yeah. Unfortunately, I guess unfortunately, it's sort of didn't cause us that much issue, but it was the local the mine where the land where people found the gold and such was been largely taken over by a very hostile tribe of lizard folk. I don't know if they care about the gold or not, but they live there and are the people who gathered the gold from there basically never went back. It's been that way for about a century, I guess.
Really?
Yeah.
So you think there's still gold in that mine?
I don't know if I don't know if it was a mine or if it's like. I know there's a cave near there that people frequented and that a river that there's sort of an underground river ran out of it, but don't know if it was either there's gold in the cave or if it just I honestly haven't given it much thought, to be honest.
Well, that's some.
We found other ways to decorate stuff.
Well, if you're not so interested in gold, I do have, and he reaches in his bag and pulls out the small sapphire he found in the dungeon earlier.
Ooh, that's a pretty stone, sir.
That it is. Rare and valuable if you're the right buyer. Or if you just want something pretty and shiny, you got that too.
Well, whoever did the work on that, the napping work on that, did an excellent job. That looks like a stone that'd be very hard to shape. Very regular cut.
Cut by expert gnome jewelers.
I will say I will give credit. That is valuable just for the craftsmanship on it alone, honestly. Yeah, I could probably do you something for that.
All right.
Tell you what. He goes to the back, gets a clay jug, and basically what's effectively a grease pencil, basically. What's your name? What's your name, sir?
I am Glix Shivshank.
He sort of writes it phonetically on there. From what it basically tries to replicate it with the which looks pretty accurate, honestly. On
I
the side of
mean,
the jug.
honestly, Glix has probably never spelled his name twice. So
Fair
whatever.
enough.
Mentioning that since Sito has like a like a flourish with a little thing that plays, like the Glix has his own flourish, but it's basically just going like and like there's
I like
there's a little instrumentation that plays with him, but it's like
Does sound fairly appropriate, yeah.
I'm just thinking of the fucking Sonic Unleashed E rank music now. Yeah, just the victory anthem played completely sour. It's really funny.
So I tell you what,
One
in
of the
exchange
things
for
about
that,
the game.
you can come back and refill this jug whenever you finish it. No more than once a day, though. Just be reasonable.
Fair enough.
That seem like a fair deal to you, sir?
That sounds like a fair deal.
Excellent. And I take it you
Oh,
want some of
man.
the seaweed brew then.
Yeah.
Whenever we leave this place, Gliss is going to be like, "But my free refills for life."
I'm gonna break it and steal his gem back.
But my sippy cup, no.
Well, it is a. By the way, this is a sizable jug.
I still like to think he calls it his sippy cup.
You might. I'm just saying. Yeah, it's basically a growler, basically. For those you know about beer. So, like
A growler filled with liquor?
yeah,
I am on board.
yeah. Glix, you are
Eric
certain
was
you
here.
will not be able to refill this daily, not without killing yourself first. He comes back out with it filled. It's a large clay jug, basically, with a cork stopper, effectively. So chunk, sets it down. There you go, sir. I can think of something to do with that.
There's sort of this amusing moment where Glick sort of like hugs the growler and sort of wobbles a bit before figuring out how to carry it properly.
It is a non-insignificant portion of your size and body weight, honestly.
This is fine doing business with you. And he's gonna waddle back to the meal hut.
Yeah.
With his jug full of seaweed liquor.
So yeah, it's basically a gallon. So ignoring just the weight of the clay jug, it's basically 8 pounds of liquor. Then you factor in the clay jug on top of that. It is not light.
All right. Replacing tiny sapphire with a gallon of kelp liquor.
Yep.
All right, I'm striking that through on my end too.
That served two purposes for me.
Yeah, because you told me about the lizardman infested gold mine, which we are clearly going to go to and get rich.
Of course you are.
Good luck convincing this party of mostly people with 8 or 10 strength to go to brandish pickaxes.
Well, it's also possible you could just pan for gold in the river coming out of the cave.
Oh shit! I just realized that I had 5 of those.
The sapphires? Yeah, there were several.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for the methods, that's what they were.
Yep.
So that was for one of them?
Yep.
Awesome.
There's some pretty good mileage out of it.
Well, the guy doesn't know exactly how to value it, but it's a rare gemstone. It's very pretty. It's well made. And he doesn't get a lot of call for the kelp liquor, so...
Mm-hmm. Like I said, there's a good value out of it.
Oh, yeah. It'll be a nice bit of ornamentation for something or other.
Mm-hmm.
So you said we had some time before
Yes.
Ujir and Kalia would head up over to the.
Yes, you do.
So maybe we should head with Cito to the marketplace. For the
Okay.
time being. I do
Nope.
know there's something that Ujir has been wanting to look to get for a while.
All right. Well, you know, large open air marketplace. There's a lot of stuff being traded of various sorts.
Sorry, I was gonna just make a snappy remark after you said that, but I decided not to, and then I decided to anyway. So now the joke is poorly mistimed. So, but I'm going to do it anyway because I've got on this rant about it. So anyway, I was gonna say after Andrew said there's something he's been meaning to get for a while, and I was gonna say Cito's number, but it's boom, said it there. Now it's just as funny as if I had said it at the right time.
Sorry, Nick. That was partially my bad.
No, it was mostly my bad.
Yeah.
I had it in my head and just didn't say it.
I just delayed for too long.
I mean, that is the key to all good comedy.
No, don't.
Bad
The
timing.
number is
What? What were you talking about? Actually, I was going
the
to
number. The number is 9373323. The letters of which spell out "you're dead."
No.
That is like the stupidest offhand joke that I got when I read something on the internet when I was 13, and I still can recite it.
All right. Well, the marketplace, they're trading, various things. There's various food stalls that are trading. There's basically a fishmonger, effectively. Someone selling, various vegetables that are grown in the general vicinity, general area. As an aside, the gardens are down by Area 6, just outside the walls.
Is there anybody there that looks like they have a shop where they kind of like sell like various things from like the shipwrecks? Because
actually, sure. Actually, there's someone who actually does do trade for. There's someone who will take
Salvage.
trade of interesting objects from that aren't normally traded for in exchange for cowrie shells.
cowrie shells.
That's
Okay.
what they generally do. It's you've got stuff that might be interesting to someone else here. Sure, but you want something that you can trade with other people in the village. That it's like you don't know who would want this. I might be able to find someone for it. I will give you some cowrie shells for it. Basically a pawn shop.
We have a pawn shop.
It's just going to be. I'm describing basically a pawn shop now that I think about it.
I was going to, yeah.
So
Just less
actually
shady.
going to go. Yeah. Engineer's actually going to approach them and take a look and see if there's any like cartography equipment.
Oh, interesting.
So we're looking for like a sextant and maybe
Okay.
like a what are those things called? That's like a needle and like you put like a pencil on it.
Compass.
A compass, yes.
Interesting. Okay, so those are things that would actually probably sell out pretty quickly because once people figure out what they are.
Hmm.
But I'm gonna say, yeah, they got one in somewhat recently. So the shopkeeper looks at me and says, how can I help you, sir?
He's
Looking
like,
to trade off trade some stuff off for local currency, or just looking to pick up something from here, pick up something that I already received?
Yes, actually, I'm looking for the engineer kind of points to the small objects, the sextant and the various things.
Yes, we got those in very recently. Those actually don't tend to stay in stock very often because when people find out what they are, they're very handy tools for various people.
Yes, they are. Would you be willing to consider trading it for maybe this? And then engineer pulls out the gold signet ring that he has.
Interesting, a golden ring. What purpose? What purpose does it serve?
Engineer kind of motions to the point. Like there's a signet here on the thing belongs to an important human family. If you were somehow show this to the right people, it would be very valuable.
And the odds of being able to show it to the right people here are.
Kalia is like standing back from this. She's like, "Oh my god!"
Jir looks like a little heartbroken. Maybe something a little more interesting.
It's a nice ring. I mean, it's pretty. It looks like a well-crafted ring. I might be interested in it. But it's not doesn't have a lot of practical use.
Maybe something a little more practical.
I mean, as an object of art, it's not. It's definitely worth something. So I'm not saying no. I'm just saying letting you know that it's unlikely to be able to trade it to return it to the family for which it was made. Is all I'm saying.
True. And you're just kind of going through the bag of like mismatched loot that nobody picked up.
Right.
Just kind of have. It's like, I got a solid silver candlestick here.
Well, it's a very nice candlestick.
It's made of silver.
Yes.
Apparently
all the traders in this village, whenever they're horribly unimpressed with something, they're just like, "Well, it's a very nice piece of junk."
I'm like, it's silver. You can melt this down. It's very effective against shapeshifters.
I'll have to take your word on that, sir.
This is like, okay.
You are beginning to get the impression that shapeshifters aren't a very common thing here. That's all I'm going to say.
They know of. You can never be sure.
Oh, that's a good point. You've got it, Eric. We've got to become snake oil salesmen.
Listen, okay? Listen, all right. Now, I can guarantee you that you'll never have problems with shapeshifters ever again. In fact, this is so potent that it stopped your shapeshifter problems before it's even got here. So imagine how powerful it is now that it's in your grasp. It can be yours for the low price of whatever the fuck I want.
Don't give away the game, man.
I just had to say the low price of whatever the fuck I want.
It's a good line.
And meanwhile, I'm over here muted saying, as someone who has played a changeling more than one time, what's wrong with shapeshifters?
Same. Listen, okay? Shapeshifters are awesome. Just fuck you. Anyways, moving on.
Okay, I have an idea.
I mean, okay, so it's a candlestick. It's a very pretty candlestick, and that's not useless. Candlesticks are useful. It's more useful than the signet ring, obviously. Other than the signet ring's a bit of jewelry, which is not a bad thing. Honestly, those are the main things you've got. I'd definitely be willing to trade you both the sextant and the compass for on a 1-for-1 basis with each of these things individually, if you're interested.
And Jir's like, he kind of nods excitedly. He's like, bows and says, "Thank you. I understand this may not be the fairest of deals."
I mean, again, it's a very pretty ring. Actually, I imagine you could the imprint on that could be used for something on the top of it.
You're gonna give away a quest item.
Well, no, it's a signet ring. A lot of them are used for pressing into wax seals and such.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
This is true. Wait, hold on. We have another gold ring here. This one actually has a jewel in it.
Again, very pretty. I have no objection to taking jewelry in. Honestly,
All right.
the material itself's not particularly interesting, but if the workmanship's good, then it's pretty. It's still jewelry.
All right.
Someone might want it just because, hey, that looks like a nice ring. I'd like to wear that.
All right. So it's your kind of like finagles, and he offers we have another gold ring with an amethyst in it. It's just a gold ring with an amethyst in it.
Sure.
And the silver candlestick.
Okay, you can keep the signet ring. That's fine. Yeah, the signet ring. That makes sense. Yeah, sure. That is an easy. She will the shopkeep. She will even throw in a small bag of cowrie shells with them.
Again, Engineer's very excitedly thanking. He's like, "Thank you very much. I know this is a little bit of a weird deal."
Well, no, it's again, it's a silver candlestick. It's a very nice looking candlestick. Someone might want it for decorative reasons, and it's a nice ring. Someone might want it for jewelry because hey, she does have other jewelry here, so it's not. She's just letting you know that it's like she is aware that Outlanders tend to value gold a lot more than people here do. Honestly, yeah. So, but the fact that it's got a inset gemstone is definitely a big plus on it. Honestly, because
She understands secondary markets.
yes, as a matter of fact, yes.
Buy for gold.
No. Oh no, Jeff Jarrett washed up on the island.
Jeff Jarrett,
Wait.
no.
Wait. 10 DiBiase's with them. Everything's gonna be fine.
Oh well, I might offset each other a bit.
At any rate, yes, you were able to get the compass and, as I said, a small bag of cowrie.
All right, I want the small bag of curry to this.
I don't know
and-
exactly. I'm going to say it's like, a gold piece worth, effectively a gold piece worth of currency, effectively. But in cowrie shells.
That's still quite a bit.
Yeah, well, you're giving her a very nice ring and a very nice candlestick, and she's giving you two useful tools.
Yes, this cartography equipment will probably be useful at some point going forward.
I could not envision how, given that you're on an island you don't have maps for.
Oh, it's not for this island.
No, well, I'm saying it might be useful in this island in and of itself.
Yeah, compasses work most places.
Yes.
Okay, so we have that. Where's that? Is it?
You enter a zone where compasses are disallowed by the local authorities.
Well, I was referring more to natural phenomena, but yeah.
Sure,
On the plus
I
side,
just,
no, there's not like a giant, massive lodestone anywhere near here that would screw with magnetic fields. Not on this island, anyways.
Like, huh?
The one we just came from, however.
Although if we keep on going to islands, then eventually we're going to find out that the compasses just point to the nearest island and not in any singular cardinal direction.
Turns out that Cameron just has like this huge magnet in his pocket that just messes with the compass.
That was my
forgot
lodestone
about-
joke.
A magnet!
No. At any rate, yes. So you were able to get that. Anything
That's
else?
what-
Yeah. So yeah, Cedo has attracted a nice little crowd.
Mm-hmm.
So very specifically, she opened up by just she has both her lyre and her guitar at the nearby, but she opens up basically just with like crooning, pretty
Okay.
much. She's just putting her pipes on display and played like Ocarina of Time, like think the kind of like singing that like Malin does, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah, but smoother.
Excuse me. No, you're right.
But yeah, so she'll open up with that, and once people are actually paying attention, she will start using her other instruments, including a song about that she just kind of came up with about how soup comes from the ocean but cannot be drank in the ocean.
That actually definitely gets some appreciative chuckles.
Unless you live in a pineapple under the sea,
No.
where
No,
apparently you
that's
can
the
drink
encore.
stuff. Yeah, apparently you can drink stuff, that drives me crazy whenever I watch SpongeBob. Like, why do they have drinks? They're in the water.
I mean,
All I can think of is that one scene of Futurama where Zoidberg gets the shell for a home, and then it burns down, and everyone's like, "How did this happen?" That's where
That's
I
a
left
very good question.
They left the oven on. This just raises further questions.
Yes.
I mean, just like, well, hey, just don't worry about it. Yeah, just don't worry about it.
Just a show. I should just relax.
But yeah, so yeah, she'll just basically just keep doing that. She'll eventually lean on some, older repertoire, which some Castaway types might be a little familiar with, just by virtue of, not all of her songs are completely original. She does, know some of the classics.
Yep.
I thought you were about to quote like the Rude Sandstorm or some shit like that. We with the initial notes there.
If she could play that on a harp,
It'd be very impressive.
I'm pretty sure someone on YouTube has it being performed on like lute or something like that as a joke. So
Probably.
well, here's
Don't
the thing.
discount
I
it.
know better than to do that because this is a game run by Mecha and he hates that song.
I don't hate that song.
I thought you did.
No.
I know you've definitely had an objection about it being overplayed.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
over. I mean, as someone who grew up listening to that song, yeah, it's overplayed.
I don't think it's a particularly
bad.
good song, but I don't hate it. That's
Yeah, there's songs
Close
I
enough.
do hate. Yeah.
oh, there's plenty of music I
that one.
hate. That's just
Pretty much any performance by Bob Dylan. That's
see,
that's
that's Eric, not me.
Anyway, but yeah, so that's what she's doing. I can throw a roll if you want.
Nah, you don't need it.
Okay.
Your passive roles, your passive skill is good enough to impress the crowds.
I'm sorry. I just thought an idea in my head.
Oh,
What
no.
the Rude Sandstorm would be like if Bob Dylan had made it.
Oh no!
Do 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 do.
You're gonna make Eric just quit.
Oh,
I'm over here going, I don't know who Bob Dylan is.
He was.
Don't worry.
He's a singer-songwriter who's been active for a very long time. Has written a lot of very great songs and is renowned as a songwriter. But he has a really weird voice. So
pretty much exactly what it sounds like all the time.
I see.
he did the
He actually
original
won the
version of.
Nobel- Yeah,
Go ahead.
He actually won the Nobel Prize for poetry and refused to accept it because he thought it was a joke.
He
I mean, you have to respect him for that, honestly.
Yeah.
he wrote the original version of All on the Watchtower. So
Mhm.
wrote and performed, I should say.
yeah, his songwriting credits are kind of like astonishing, but yeah,
He's an amazing poet, terrible performer.
terrible singer. I will not. He is a very good guitarist.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. But so yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not a fan of his singing, but I have a lot of respect for him, and I can tolerate it enough to
Oh,
put
no.
up with. I can tolerate it enough to put up to appreciate his music. I get why you don't like him, like totally.
No, it's one of the best lyricists alive.
Mhm.
Can't
I'd agree.
stand listening to him perform. Give his songs to someone else, and it's amazing.
But
At any rate,
is there any? Yeah.
Yeah, she will have like a little donation bin.
oh, yes, you are gifted a. Of course, the course of your performance, you're gifted for various people. They appreciate your performance. They do give you a few. They give you a few. A smattering of calorie shells. About a gold piece worth in this economy, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need it for most stuff that goes on here, but if you, it's nice to have.
Right, like it's available. Like this is kind of why like I'm not super concerned about actually acquiring goods from like Dungeon Dives and whatever as Cedo, because it's like if I really need something, I can just do this.
At any rate, yeah. So that there's anything else anyone wants to do before dinner and which will then lead into the meeting with the village elder again.
I mean, we could do a brief exchange with the weaponsmith.
Oh
if
yeah,
you want to.
I forgot about that. Thank you, Skitch.
Yeah.
So you wander by the weaponsmith's place. He is mostly he does mostly sort of stone napping with obsidian, sort of chipping away at it to shape it into various things.
Right.
And working with do a lot of woodworking. He's very good at
Sure.
both.
Mm-hmm.
He has a few apprentices work and stuff. He does not do much work in the way of metal, shall we say.
Sure, that's fine.
So he looks at one of the new folk. How can I help you?
How are you doing today? I have a question about some things here. So
He's saying that he's working on a
this-
piece. He said, "Don't mind me if I while I work on this blade."
Well, he
Looks like he's working on fashioning the blade of an obsidian knife at the moment.
Yeah. Cameron just sort of nodded. Oh no, of course. Very nice work, obviously. So
Thank you.
I'm curious about a slightly exotic type of, well, weapon slash conduit, I guess, or is a way to describe it.
He arches an eyebrow.
And then Cameron then pulls out his gun, sets it like on the table in front of the weaponsmith, but then points specifically at the crystal, kind of in the prism slash crystal embedded into the chamber. And just sort of comments,
Interesting.
is this something that anyone in this culture has worked with before?
Let me. He looks at it. He sets the obsidian down, the piece of obsidian down on the table. Sort of leans over it, looks at it. Very nice faceting work. And my internet is cutting out. It looks like. Nope, it's back. Never mind.
Yeah. You're here. We can hear you.
Yeah, I just noticed that the OBS was derping a bit, but it's back. Oh, it's doing it again.
Yeah.
So, he looks at it and says, "It's I've not seen its like before personally. It looks like a very nice piece of jewelry, but it looks like a jewel, honestly. But I would guess it's sort of of a magical sort in some way.
Not really magical. I mean, well, not to me, but I think to some it would be. Do you mind if I do a quick demonstration of what it does?
Oh, absolutely. It's a weapon. I take it.
Yes. Do you have a target I can use?
Oh, sure. I can set up a target, a practice target. It's a ranged weapon. Then.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
So
he sets up he sets up a bullseye on a wooden plank.
Okay.
He's got sort of a makeshift range out back for testing spears and the like, you know.
All right. So
and bows and arrows.
In short, what this does is it takes light and it stores it as, well, it's like arrows or crossbow bolts. It stores them directly from light, and then he just lines up and just takes a shot, and then you can just see like the beam that just shoots straight out from it, along with the pulse of light that comes from the chamber when it's struck accordingly.
Yep. Fascinating.
That is, yes.
I've not seen this like before. No.
Okay. I was just curious because it felt like this seems to have some this island and, well, the other one that we were on seem to have remnants of, well, technology that is different than where we came from. So I was curious if this was something that was at least familiar to you all here.
Not to me. Honestly, I have heard tell of strange sort of mystical weapons of sorts that have been found by people in exploring the deep jungles. And this sort of fits in the category of stuff that it's largely been described just as purely magical.
Right. I mean, we have some traditional magic here in town. Obviously, it's not unheard of. Sure.
This strikes me as somewhat sort of similar in effect to some types of magic wands, but it's a different sort of. Even if it is magic, it's a different type of magic. Clearly, I'm not one to. I don't know much about. I don't do much in the way of work of magic myself. I'm a crafter, you know. I've talked with a couple of wizards. I've talked with one of the local wizards about stuff like this before. Or stuff not like this, but I had an idea for it, trying to find a way to use sort of his things he crafts into magic wands to sort of more replicatable weapons, and we really couldn't come up with a good way to do it. That didn't cost way more in resources than it really be worth. Like, yeah, we could do it, but like one weapon like the one I was thinking of would take up so much more resources than just making a bow and a lot of arrows.
What type of weapon were you thinking
much better.
You're thinking about like what, and like a repeating crossbow of sort that just kind of automatically reloads itself, or something
I was thinking something more along the lines of mass producing sort of low charge wands basically, and using them as sort of an ammunition source,
right.
and sort of cycling
Right.
them through. But that that was just a lot more. That's so much more way of resources than just, as I said, making a bow and a lot of arrows.
Right.
But like a
right.
mechanical,
Especially-
like I suppose you could make a mechanical repeating crossbow. That would require materials that we don't have a lot of on the island. Sort of like it would be best with sort of using a metal with actual tensile strength
Right.
for our mechanism,
Sure.
and there's just not a lot of sort of strong metals here. There are
Right.
a lot of
and
like
most-
there's some of the softer metals are available here, but those aren't much use in weapons.
Right. And the means to temper them effectively is something that doesn't seem to be as possible here.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I guess so. Yeah. You mentioned so for this particular type of
Mhm.
well weapon, I suppose either speaking to one of the wizards or possibly just if we were given the clearance, exploring deeper into jungles themselves might provide some
I would suspect
insight.
there from what I understand, there are, from what I've heard from the scouts, there are a sizable number of sort of ruined buildings and stuff from long ago. I don't know exactly how long, but very long time ago, deep in the forests.
Right.
And I know some enterprising folks have managed to get down there and sort of explore them and find interesting and fun, interesting stuff to bring back to make their hope. And several of them, from the stories I've heard, were useful tools that lasted quite some time before running out of whatever it was that was helping them. Like they were definitely capable of doing more than something purely mechanical, but they ran out of magic or whatever, mojo, whatever you want to call it, eventually.
Curious. Well, I'm just being curious about see what I can figure out about this particular weapon and any information itself. So thank you for that. I'm trying. The camera then looks around to see if there's any like weapons or items in this area that look like they might actually be of use for him from what they have.
Well, he's got. He primarily makes. He's got a fair number of bows, arrows of. He's got bows, arrows, spears, knives. The obsidian blades that I mentioned before. I forgot how to pronounce it all of a sudden.
An obsidian rapier. No, that would not.
No.
No.
if there was a rapier there, it's probably made of like a marlin's like tusk or something.
There might be some stuff that's like he's there's no rapier type thing. No.
Sure.
Stabbing, like the most of stabbing weapons here are basically spears.
Spears, yeah, for sure.
Because they're easy to make, honestly.
Yeah.
With the materials they have.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The camera just announcement. For what I do, there's not so much that I can make use of around here. But
understandable.
If my compatriots need anything in particular, I might come back and help with a little bit.
What sort of aside from your crystal weapon there, what sort of weapons do you favor?
Oh gosh, see, not a whole lot, honestly. Usually, I mean,
fair.
The general rules are if I'm in a situation where I'm close enough to be in close quarters combat, I'm doing something wrong, and even then I throw myself into it a bit more actively than I should. But
interesting. I mean, it looks like a very handy weapon that'd be not too hard to manipulate at short ranges, at least.
Oh no, this is agile enough for me for short range for sure. The main risks for it is just I have to have it in light for it to stay
you mentioned
powered.
Yes,
and I'm curious if there's anything I can do to change how it works, but that's going to take, I think, finding some sort of specialist. By the way, one little random thought here.
Mm-hmm.
Cameron then just reaches over to the sword that is sheathed and pulls out that +1 longsword that is
metal blade.
Yes,
very nice.
It
don't see many of those around here, but we see them from time to time.
Yeah, this does actually have the marking of one of the other gods on it. It points to the oh shoot, what was the what
Korea.
was
Eukarya.
it points to the Eukarya emblem on it. So I'm not sure how many people here would be savvy to use it, but it is very much a blade infused with a little bit of magic.
Oh,
and
interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, just the metal
How-
blade in of itself is rare and very useful around here. I mean,
Yeah. I assume this would have a little bit of bargaining leverage if necessary.
oh, if you were looking to trade that, I'm certain that someone would be willing to barter quite well for it.
Understood. I'll keep that in mind. Thank you
Yeah.
for your appraisal there.
Yeah, people in town, like, the warriors, if they can get their hands on a good metal blade, they are quite fond of them because, like, the obsidian blades are extremely potent weapons, but a good metal blade
Right.
has its certain advantages over the Makawati.
Not least of which is honestly the maintenance on it is a
Yes,
little bit easier
exactly.
to deal with. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I can't make much use of this myself, but it's a little bit too heavy for my style. But
Mm,
I'll keep this in mind when it comes time to negotiate.
very well.
We still have to have a follow-up meeting with the elder after
Yes.
the high priestess decides what to do with us.
Understandable. I
So-
wish you the best of luck then.
Thank you, and best of luck with your business here.
Thank
as
you.
always.
He
And
sits
then-
back down and goes back to, knocking chips of obsidian off of the blade he's forming.
I'm I'm sure thinking it's like I don't what Cameron actually has bargaining leverage in this town.
Yeah. Like, yeah, there are definitely people amongst the village's warriors that would go, ooh, a metal sword. It's magical too? Sweet.
Yeah, be yours for the low price of whatever the fuck I want. Anyways,
It's
Uh,
not
it-
far off, honestly.
Yeah, you could probably make a very convincing argument to like one of the honor guards.
oh yeah. So it's like hey, I want to go in there. You're not supposed to. Yeah, well, what if I gave you this? Huh?
I cannot let you in, but I'm going to be taking a short break here momentarily. It'd be a real shame if someone snuck in while I wasn't here.
I know. It'd be the worst. Well, if anyone sneaks in there, I'll let you know about it, okay?
Excellent.
I'll keep an eye out on him. Anyways, but yeah,
Yes.
let's proceed with
All right.
the
Unless there's anything you guys want to do at dinner, which is quite good. The chef, the guy who runs the food hall, is actually a very good cook.
I will share some of my booze at the party.
I will let everyone
And-
decide on their own if they personally appreciate the kelp liquor.
yeah.
And
Right.
I'll tell them about the abandoned gold mine. There's some to be made here, guys.
Funnily enough, kelp liquor is probably usually appreciated by merfolk, but Cito is played by me.
Right.
Yeah. Cameron is
Yes.
going to
In response to Incher saying there's something to be made, Kai is going to say, yes, kelp liquor.
Yes.
question, Peter.
Yes.
Is it a constitution check or saving throw to resist I assume drinking this might be akin to the first time I tried grappa when I was in Italy.
Ugh.
It's
Disgusting stuff,
It-
Grappa.
oh, vile.
Saving throws just to see how Cameron
If you want
reacts
to, sure, go for it. I'm not gonna.
Well, natural 20. So
There you go.
There you go.
Cameron just does a shot of it.
Just a slight shake in his face. Like,
Like,
That's
Cameron's like, oh, jeez, that's disgusting. Anyways,
Yeah, great, isn't it?
I mean, listen, it'll probably fuck you up pretty good,
Skitch, as a former soldier, you've probably had worse sort of bathroom gin type equivalent stuff.
Oh no, absolutely. Like it's still like he was still like that's it's not good.
Like,
But
it's about as good as you can envision it being. Like, whoever made this knew what they're doing. It's just that it's a question of they have the skills to do it. It's the question of why would you do this?
at least it's not never clear, you know. You're like that, Peter?
I caught that.
Yeah. There you go.
Let's be real. Like, if there was an actual war going on, Cameron would be the person in charge of the illegal distillery that's in the army site.
Yeah.
No. No one would know about that on record. Anyways, but Cameron just sort of like, I am not. By the way, I'm not surprised that you're that worried about trying to find a way to make some money out of all this.
I mean, we're gonna find a way off the island and back to where we came from, and all that gold is gonna be super useful.
Sure, but we don't know how to get off this island yet.
Listen, all we got to deal with is some intransigent lizard men, and we'll be rich forever.
And a barrier of storms that has existed since the war, apparently.
Engineer shakes his head, and the jungle.
Yep.
It's not like it's not like they're death lizards out in the jungle or anything.
Yeah.
In addition to the lizardmen.
Cameron will quip. I decided to ask the weaponsmith about my weapon of particular and see if anyone knew anything about, well, prisons around here. The only thing I might have as a lead is that there would be possibly something in the ruins in the jungle, because I would suspect, if anything, maybe some of the ruins from before the war might contain some secrets, but I'm not going to push that in any direction since we got other things to worry about. Might give us information about the past, though.
Pardon me.
Cameron just sort of shrugs a little bit at that, but that's the most I could glean out from this.
While they're eating I went to the marketplace and I bought some cartography tools to maybe help us not get lost while we're going out wherever we're going, considering we really don't have any local landmarks or things to go by.
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll cross-reference notes as we go along.
He kind of just nods. He's looking at his shiny new toy.
At the very least, knowing which direction's north all the time will help.
The sextant will help making a map actually much more accurate.
Yeah,
Yes, for sure. But Cameron's like, but yeah, there is. I'm just this whole area is very curious because given the nature of that barrier, that really does seem. It does explain a lot about the lingo here, the fact that they are aware of the old gods in a way I think other people normally aren't. Just, huh.
it's your
When one has pockets of isolation, cultures don't tend to shift very much.
Probably why they
Sure.
have death chickens. They haven't been made into regular chickens yet.
I mean, I think calling them thunder lizards might be a little bit, since that's the term they use around here, might be the better term.
Well, I mean,
I'm pretty sure those death chickens don't make a lot of thunder.
They
He
seem
means
closely
the smaller
related.
ones.
Yeah, the little ones like we saw at the watering hole. They were all hissy.
I'm aware. I'm still referring to them as part of the thunder lizard sort of grouping.
But they're not
is-
lizards. They've got feathers and well, teeth. But closer to chickens than lizards.
Well, about that. Anyways. But like I said, Cameron's just sort of like, I guess it's more of that fact that I'm just seeing after the tavern, seeing this is just interesting given how when I am and what's happened and all that stuff. Also, the fact that there are some people here who are followers of one of the old gods is a bit curious too, though I don't think they'll be super friendly.
Why do you say that?
Well, mostly because of the warlike nature of the Lord of the Sea. You saw the mosaic.
Hmm.
So
Your kind of nods on and says, yes, she of the submerged voice is much more chill.
That is accurate, despite the fact that that we're talking about an ocean dragon.
Yeah. somewhere across the ocean, there's just a massive storm going.
part of me wonders if there are other ruins to the old Lord, the dead Lord of the Sea, out there that we would deal with, that we could see and investigate some. But again, that's more just my curiosities. I'm not sure how anyone else would feel about it, and I wouldn't want to push that issue myself.
Well, there might be a like a another one of those mini gates that might get us like closer to outside of the storm wall.
It's a possibility. If there was any, if anything, the gates would be the most likely associated with things related to the gods. Though honestly,
Speaking of the storm wall, have any of us ever heard of such a thing?
Nope.
Like we've never heard of a massive storm wall surrounding islands.
Almost nobody sails to the middle of the ocean.
yeah, I think the only person who might know anything about it would be Cito, but
Cito is aware of.
And even then, it's more like scuttlebutt.
Yeah.
Right.
People don't tend to sail through the middle of the ocean because it's a big ocean, and you can get lost sailing over that when you're that far away from land.
yeah,
Turns out there are other reasons not to do it, but
yeah. Cameron will just sort of quips like, yeah, well, obviously it's something that wasn't around during my time, but
there wasn't a giant ocean in the middle of the middle of the middle of the land in your time either.
Oh, okay. So that is the more notable thing.
Oh yeah, no, I made that clear. Yeah,
okay.
When you were from, there was one gigantic continent, not like three smaller ones and a bunch of islands.
Right. So these are just temples that just happen to be on the land, and then were spared when something happened and the oceans were formed.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh, Skitch, your character Cameron probably hasn't heard the name of the ocean either, has he?
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
No.
Oh okay.
Yeah,
yeah. So that will come up at some other point then.
Yeah. Cameron's just sort of like quipping, and he might even mutter at some point. It's like, it's like, all that being said, one of the things that's still confused for me is where the heck. Well, he's seen enough of a map of the world to kind of be able to see that.
Yeah, you've seen a map of the world.
Yeah.
It's like as I said, the northern continent that you guys started on. Like, you recognize a lot of the land masses here, but it's like, and then the land stops at a certain point. It's like that's odd, and there's water there. It's like you don't remember that.
Cameron will quip, the fact that there's even an ocean here, as your gestures around, is very weird for me, because this was all land.
Wait a minute. Like, we're on an island. Of course it's all land.
No. I'm talking about how, there's water between this and the other island.
Well, that's usually how you get an island.
No. But see, there wasn't water there before. That was just land.
So like a desert?
No, just more land. Like how there's 3 continents right now, from what I saw before, right? And then this.
Yeah.
There
you
weren't
got
that
like
before.
Cardul and like the other 2.
Yeah.
I am more interested in the fact that Cameron apparently knows what the idea of an island is, despite coming from a time where no islands existed.
Oh, there were islands. They were still along the coast and the outside of the outside
there
of the
were islands. The islands were outside the continent. There was one continent, and then islands were around it. Now we have a continent split into 3, like a poorly cut pizza, with a bunch of islands in the middle, like the remnants of the pizza after being poorly cut. That analogy makes perfect sense.
Kalia mutters, "Do you know what a pizza is?"
Of course I do.
Yeah, it's flatbread with
not to Cameron.
Cheese and meat on it, and then you cook it, and then you eat it. It's a goblin dish.
But Cameron's basic comments are just along the lines of like, so part of me wonders if this ocean in the middle and this stuff was created at the same time as the barrier.
So
Because
wait, like you're saying like the old gods just poured a bunch of water on the land to make an ocean?
no, I would say it's
It
more
sounds
likely
more
that
like the continent was actually split.
like there's a snap fingers at a point. Like, yeah, because here's the thing: if the barrier was formed as a result of the gods fighting, right?
Actually, on that note, you said there was like a little like a reddish substance.
Yeah, vaguely.
Is it kind of like on the firmer side?
Sure.
All right, in that case, Cito will just like take an implement and just kind of like find a circular piece and just sort of forcefully drive it into the middle and break it apart like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You get the
yeah,
rough
like,
effect, sure.
yeah, like Cameron's like yeah, because here's the thing: if this formed at like the apex of where the war happened, it would be weird if it was war happening in the middle of the ocean. It would give, you know, the Lord of the Sea an advantage and some other stuff. It would make sense if it was more on land, and then it just boop, it like pushes the pieces of bread apart, you know, caused that to happen.
If we are in the midst of this vortex, why is there a barrier then instead of simply a void? Why is there
Well,
space in the middle?
well, if it given how people thought about it, the barrier seems to be something that prevents people from leaving. So one could surmise that a reason is because it's here to prevent something from leaving here.
Well, right now it
Hmm.
was.
Something, someone, even if just information, you know?
Engineer's like, maybe it's the doing of the primordial beast of water. She had the submerged voice. Maybe
Could
they're
be
right.
or maybe it's a conjunction, or it's in conjunction with the others that remain. So, again, the the fact that we have like people with more distinct knowledge of at least one of the old gods, we have relics of the old gods around of an old god around here and stuff. You know, that might have something to do with it too. But you think
I
it's
have a theory.
a theory here, something that you wish to share, Kalia, or
Peter,
Yes.
I have my doubts about this because I don't think that her general religious knowledge is enough.
Okay.
But given that as a Knight of Mortis, she would be naturally opposed to Eucharia,
Mm-hmm.
thinking back on it now, is there anything about the encounter that they had with what seemingly was some form of avatar or representation of Eucharia that they dealt with?
Mm-hmm.
Did it just straight up, like, is she 100% certain that that was Eucharia?
Are you 100% certain it's Eucharia?
as in Eucharia themselves, or rather just a thing of
Or
Eucharia?
aligned with Eucharia?
Yeah.
Or like, is
as you're
An
as
avatar
you're,
thereof.
you're as sure as you can be, I guess.
okay.
You can't. I'll put it this way: you would not be able. You cannot think of anything that it like. It's very clearly tied to. Assuming that it is a remote at all, sort of like along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
It does not seem like it had anything to do with Terra, who's the was the god who was and is the god of nature.
Okay.
Or sort of the god of aligned with the sort of the life primal force.
Mhm.
In the way that Mortis is lined with death. Eukarya is sort of the primal beast. Was the primal beast of that, as I mentioned. So it you can't think of anyone else. According to your knowledge, you can't think of anyone who else who it could have been, really. Because Terra's not into the whole undead thing.
Okay.
Because she's the goddess of the hunt, also. So
Right.
Right.
Kalia is going to like stare at their little bread map for a bit,
I love that.
and she's got a troubled look on her face, and she's going to put her hands to her lips,
Mm-hmm.
and then she's going to say, "This is only a possibility, but if Yukaria's Yukaria's goal is, as always, the ever inexhaustible cycle of life even from death. What if there is a connection to what she was trying to accomplish with what is here?
Cameron's
After all, in her wake, there was a portal that led us here. What if that was not a random connection, but one that was the result of a connection that they were trying to make before?
Cameron thinks for a moment and then just sort of like, just as it kind of point blank, you suggesting that there was a plot from Eukaria to resurrect the old gods?
It's merely a possibility.
I mean,
Perhaps.
from what we've seen, they do. It does like zombies, and zombie gods are the most zombie thing you can get.
And I would assume that if that was to be done, if Yukari was interested in doing that, I doubt that Yukari would be interested in just bringing them back and letting them be, but possibly, I don't know, enthralling them.
Using them.
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not really that interested in trying to bring back the old gods or anything like that. Despite, having followed some of them in the past. He whispers kind of under his breath to Kalia. But
don't want anyone around the table hearing that. So
but yeah, that does. Granted, this kind of plays into my thoughts about other things related to portals and otherwise. If someone's abusing the resource in a particular way, that can't be good for anyone. So it's
when a person
thought.
dies, they leave certain things behind: their body, their possessions. Some would argue their soul. But if it is trapped in the place where the body falls, then there are many things that people can take away from there. And if a normal person, leaves those things behind, what would be left behind by a god, by a primordial? There would be certain remnants that could not simply be disposed of.
That would also stand
and it would be
reason.
important to make sure that anyone interested in some form of resurrection would not be able to take them from the side of their fall.
That would also explain why I would assume any of the ruins of the Dead Lord of the Sea would be treated as forbidden. Especially if that
And
was
also why something that no person has been able to exit out of.
Yeah. I mean, it does.
This is, I admit, I am making a great amount of supposition when we have very little actual knowledge to act upon. But my instinct tells me that it is necessary for us to, now that we are here, find out what it is that Yukari was trying to accomplish, and if it was trying to accomplish something here. Well, I should say, and she's going to look at everyone, it is necessary that I do this.
No, Though I have a suspicion that this means those ruins that I was thinking about earlier might be worth looking into. If there's, who knows, there might be agents of Eukaria there trying to do something. Like Cameron just sort of like comments matter of factly, I doubt it, but the possibility exists.
Injure just kind of speaks up. Regardless, we're gonna have to find some way off this island, one way or the other. And considering what happened on the other island, our best luck may be inland.
Yep.
And we can do it while rich. We just have to deal with some lizard men.
Kali is going to look at Glix and say, given the nature of what I am suggesting may be at play here, if it is in your best interests to acquire riches and material wealth, then I leave you to it.
I mean, who knows? There might be something valuable.
I will not force you to come along on this task with me.
I'm just saying, we can take a little side trip to the gold mine, fill our pockets, and then we can go and kill some dead gods again.
There's it's just like, God, that's how much gold are you planning on carrying?
I mean, a lot. Takes a swig out of the jug that's almost as big as he is.
I really am just imagining just this giant, like, clay jug with 3 X's on it.
You know, Glix, if it is, and I will be upfront, I am not actually trying to convince you to come with us. But if it is material value that you seek, there is a possibility that you would find something of greater value than raw gold, or in a temple that none have successfully been able to get to in order to raid.
I mean, tomb raiding is an honorable profession.
And she just looks at him like, what?
So, I'll be coming along. I'm just saying.
I feel like this is just hashtag Eric.
Kali is going to take a non-alcoholic drink. She's got a meeting with an elder after this. She's not going to risk it.
I mean, I'll come along with you guys because it sounds like a fun time and everybody loves killing gods. So,
Like Cameron just sort of gives a look, just like
Kali shakes her head a little.
It's also a gold mine, a literal gold mine.
I mean, who gives? I mean, it's just gold.
Yes, it is the basis of every economic transaction off these islands.
Listen, man, I'm still getting used to this gold thing. You know, if it was a credits mine, I mean, then we'd be talking. You know.
Oh man, there's so many plastic cards down there just waiting to be grabbed. Just waiting to be swiped. Damn it.
we go there. It turns out it's a crypto mine.
There's Doge everywhere.
We have to destroy this place immediately.
Blockchain.
We gotta make Bezos cry.
Yeah, but Cameron's just sort of like, yeah. Listen, if credits can be useless at some point, so can gold. It gestures to the island around. So it's.
Injir literally puts the bag of calories on the table as he says that.
Okay, I'm gonna pull out a cowrie. I'm gonna put out a gold piece, and one of these is shiny, and it could use to bludgeon people if they could cause you problems. This will break, and it's also shiny, and I think I also want this.
Yeah. It takes like 5 seconds. Like, it's actually kind of nice, really.
I
mean, it's like you got the right kind of shell. It would probably be a much better weapon than a piece of gold.
But Cameron's like, yeah. So you two are going to be talking with the elder after all this.
Injir nods. Yeah, we're heading up there.
That is our plan.
Yeah. Well,
All right.
let's see what they have to say in any case.
Do we need to hurry up and wrap this up because it's 5?
Skitch?
I mean, I'll let you know if I have to drop out
Okay.
a voice for a moment.
Okay.
But we can just keep going.
All right.
right.
We're getting near the end of what I have prepped anyways, so...
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we will move to the meeting with the Elder. Anyone who wants to be there may be there, obviously.
I guarantee Glix is not interested. Instead, trying to learn the totally not Mahjong / dominoes.
Right.
Yeah.
Mahjong,
yeah, you know.
got it.
Gotta get ready to swindle people. Yeah.
Exactly.
I will say this, Eric. Over the course of the evening, you are able to pick up on it. The guys who you're playing with are very good at it, and are also very good at spotting people trying to cheat. You've noticed.
Yeah. You're
Gotcha.
playing with a bunch of 80-year-olds.
Yeah,
like-
basically.
and they swear more than even Glix does.
They get here at 6 o'clock every morning and play for 6 hours every day.
Like they like you do see like every now and then you spot oh, that guy's cheating, and then you realize that while he's cheating he's still losing, like because they know he's cheating and have figured out how he's cheating and are just playing around it, and eventually he gives
in and
up.
of itself.
What?
Well, that's just cheating in and of itself.
Forcing ruining someone's cheating methods? That's just not very sportsmanlike.
I was just thinking that.
So, all right, yeah, you can keep on trying to sneak in tiles from left here and there and what have you. That's fine. We know what you're doing, and therefore we can play around it. So, I've got the perfect tile for this. Why they blocked my move? Why would they play that? That's a somewhat Oh, they know I'm cheating, don't they?
Oh man, this actually reminds me. So I was part of a Yu-Gi-Oh group for a long time in one form or another, and we would play online. And of course, unless you used one of the programs that would pop up eventually, it was very easy to cheat.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually someone revealed like years after this one guy left the group that he was like, yeah, I ended up learning the right way to beat him was just to assume that he would always have the perfect card for any circumstance and then just react to that. By assuming that he was cheating, he learned to perfectly counter what would be the perfect thing to screw him over in that case. And that was how he learned to beat him. So
that's funny. All right, so you meet up with the village elder. And she says, I believe the name was Injur?
He's like, yes.
And you miss our, I believe I heard someone mention Kalia?
I am Kalia Vecnost, Knight of Mortis.
Yeah, that's right. I noticed the symbol. So, what did you wish to discuss?
At this, Injir motions towards the symbol on the back. It seems that you are also followers of She of the Submerged Voice, though I believe you called her She Who Swims?
Yes. I have heard that. We have heard that term from others before. Yes, the name you use from others. Yes,
others.
Well, people who've been shipwrecked here.
Yeah, Injir's strokes his head. That's very interesting. We really only use that around my monastery.
I don't know where they came from, but that was some time ago, many years ago.
How did you come about this worship? It's very unusual for, you large people to worship such a thing in a way that isn't, evil.
She sort of shrugs. I don't know. We have been followers. We've been her, as far as I know, we've been her followers for this village and most of the other villages on this. Most of the other villages on this island have been followers of her for a long time. So I don't know how it started, honestly.
You guys are humans who worship her, and you're not a weird cult. What's up with that?
Yeah.
How can humans who spend all the time by the water worship something in the water?
Well, usually they worship Oceana.
She was bringing up a real point here. Like, what the hell's going on?
I mean, the way you phrased it made it
Oh, I know.
I keep on forgetting that Oceania is a thing.
Right.
So like
That's fair.
That's I need that to be spelled more blatantly on is my point.
Yeah, but I'm pointing this. I'm bringing it up. Yeah, Oceania is one of the two. Oceania is, by the way, Oceania is one of the two major deities of amongst the humans. Just to make this clear, so to bring this up, they're the two gods of civilization whose domains are partially civilization are Oceania and Ignis. They're the twin gods of civilization. Their main domains are water and fire, but they're also gods of civilization. Is one of their domains. So just thought I would mention that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm fairly confident that we mentioned that Oceania has, pretty big sway over the modern merfolk in general.
Does.
Yep. If they're not going for the primordial water, then they're probably going with Oceania.
Yeah, I would say that's likely. But I suspect it draws back from honestly from my guess is it ties back to the High Priestess's line. She's, as far as I'm aware, she's been a fixture in the religion for quite some time. I don't know who predated her. She's been the head of our religion here, of the worship of she who swims for longer than I've been alive.
I see. This was the Naga woman.
Well, that was not mentioned, but you could.
No, he assumed because he saw the Naga woman before.
Yeah, well, she's yes, actually, she is one of the very few Naga I've ever seen. But there are from what I understand, there are a few others on the island. I do not know them, but I've not met them, but I'm aware that they exist. I do not know much about them beyond that, though. But yes, the High Priestess is, in fact, she is a Naga. She's very, very old. Her name is Sixal. I'll spell that now. Cyxxal.
Cyxxal. All right, I'm writing that down. All right.
She is she at this point spends a lot of her time in repose, largely as a way to reduce strain on her since she is as old as she is, and largely only rouses herself for important ceremonies or for in times of emergency when her counsel is most needed. I must say, technically speaking, from a purely official standpoint, your arrival would qualify. It does qualify.
I see. Well, considering that we are all on the same page here, that does bode possibly well in our favor. That you won't have to do anything unfortunate.
I would hope so. You've so far been reasonably pleasant. You've been pleasant enough guests. I've had no negative reports.
So you've been watching us. That's most wise.
I did tell you I was going to.
Yeah, we get like a little brief montage cutting back over the various scenes we've had together. With Glix haggling, Injir haggling, Sito playing, us at dinner, and there's just always like some kind of surly looking guard off in the background somewhere.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's just the elder. It's the elder with a mustache.
No. Funny, but no.
I like to imagine that
in this economy, you got to have two jobs. So.
I'd like to imagine that for the bit with Cito, like the observers kind of ended up having to kind of become like roadie bouncers at one point. They're just like, okay, no closer than here, please.
Yes,
What the hell am I doing with my life?
I do not know when you'll be able to meet with her. I would guess soonish, but it'll take some time for our messenger to get to her temple and rouse her, and then they'll have to come back to let us know what's going on. I will say, if there was some way you could find to help us in some way, help the village as a whole in some way, that would be a definite point in your favor. I'm not sure what exactly could be done, but I'm sure. I'm not saying you have to either. I'm fairly certain that you'll be. it won't be a major problem either way. But
That is the reason that I have come here.
ah,
This will be a somewhat more difficult concept to get across, given than I'm used to. So I hope that you will bear with me.
mm-hmm.
Amongst the worshippers of my god, there are a small number that are part of an order who actively, I suppose you could say, preach the word of his nature, not in order to influence people into becoming his followers, but simply to accept his nature and the need for him in the cycle of life and death. To that
Yeah.
end,
I mean, is that not self-evident to some degree?
There is a relieving acceptance, given the way that the two conversations that I have had when I have brought this up have been, there is a relieving amount of acceptance of this that is not always commonplace where we come from.
Ah,
There is a general fear of what comes after death.
interesting.
So, when people pass, people belonging to my order attempt to assist in that passage, assisting in burial rites
Ah,
and grieving loved ones. However, before I attempted to do what I typically do when I come to a new settlement, which is to check the word on who has recently passed and see what I can do in order to help in that regard, I thought it would be best to check and not impose myself upon people.
interesting. Oh, well, that is very interesting. Well, I could introduce you to the members of the clergy who handle funeral rites for our people, if you'd like. I can discuss that with them. I suspect they would not turn away another hand at any of those things.
Be good. I
Okay.
appreciate the offer.
I will make sure to. I can set that up for you tomorrow morning.
Kalia nods.
So yeah, I would imagine it'll be about at your meeting with the high priestess will probably be within, I would say, within the week. We might most likely be my guess.
Really, so long?
Well, it will. Either I will hear. We should hear back from our messenger tomorrow at some point. As I said, within the week, it will depend. And if she's going to be coming here, it will take her some time to get her. She does not travel quickly at her age. If you're going there, if you were to be going there, it would be sooner, obviously.
Yes. I was really surprised. That's plenty of time for us to disappear here,
Well,
one way or another.
If that's what you choose to do, then we will know more about you. And that will inform her decision.
This is also true. You just kind of like taps his chin, like, that's true. Well, then it seems that we have some choices to make.
Indeed. If you wish, you are welcome to stay in the village for the time being, or if there's other stuff you would like to do. All that I ask is that when we hear back, when the meeting will, I would ask you not leave until after we hear back from the messenger to the high priestess. And once we know what the time frame will be, then honestly, at that point, as long as you're available for the meeting, you're welcome to do what you wish.
Let's see. That's very helpful, and I thank you for your patience. There is one last thing I wish to ask you about.
Mm-hmm.
When we last spoke, you mentioned avatars of She Who Swims coming to the island.
By the way, that was me misspeaking. Me, Peter.
Okay.
It wasn't actually an avatar. I used the wrong word. It was her
favored beast.
one of her favorite beasts.
Yeah, favorite beast. Okay. Especially the favorite beast coming to. Could you just possibly describe such a thing?
Oh, they're a type of sea dragon. They are very. They don't come by very often. No more than once. The most often they've shown up here is once a decade, but it's usually no more than once a generation, and often more time between than that. But they do come and visit sometimes to bring messages from her.
Interesting. It has been a long time since any of my order has met such a creature outside of the meditation chamber. Thank you. With that, Injir bows and he looks to see if Kalia needs to talk about anything else.
I got what I needed. So
Very well. I do have another meeting before I retire. I need to speak with the head warrior about his plan for dealing with the pirates. I still not sure what we can do, what to do about them. I'm afraid it might cost too much, too many of our warriors when we do need to defend ourselves against other things.
See, I see we're getting the Fallout New Vegas treatment here. Got it.
Yeah.
What? No! But yes, she wishes the rest of you. She wishes you a good evening, and that's that meeting. I take it.
It's on our end, yeah.
Okay, great. That's gonna wrap up what I've got prepped, basically.
Okay.
all right.
So yeah, you guys should let me know what you are planning. You'll hear back, like you'll have a time frame somewhere round about a week before your meeting, maybe a little bit less, maybe more, depending on what you guys decide you want to do.
Right.
Let me know what you guys want to do before midweek, roughly, and so I can plan for next session.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
As I said, that sort of. There were many different things you can do, and I wasn't sure what you would want to do, so I figured I'd leave it up to you guys. That's going to do it for this session. Thank you everybody for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. If you're listening to us on YouTube, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed that. If you enjoyed and you're looking forward to seeing more of it, I'd recommend liking the video, maybe subscribing to the channel. That way you'll know when, especially with the stupid bell thing, you're more likely to know when when episodes go live on YouTube. Or if you want to catch us live on Twitch, I'm streaming at twitch.tv/MechaGM. We do it on most Saturday afternoons, starting around about 2 p.m. Eastern. That's it for this week. Thank you for watching, everybody, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.